It's that familiar feeling. The smells, pads crashing, fans cheering, fight songs, chants and whistles fill the air. There's no doubt, football is back.
If you want to make a name, better stand and deliver.
Do not be afraid!
Champions have come from a select few. Will a new season bring new challengers?
He's never made a fair catch. He did make a fair catch signal. He's gone. Touchdown!
Familiar names, but new places. And chaos always finds its way back.
The Aggies win the game of the year! Juggling catch made. Was it in bounds for T. Higgins? Yes! How did he haul that one in?
Tradition is back. Pride is back. Football is back.
Well, isn't it great to have college football back? The drama, the excitement, and yeah, the great players, some of whom we are going to see on this field in Tampa tonight at Raymond James Stadium, number 19, Wisconsin, coming on the road to take on the Bulls of South Florida in front of one of the best crowds and atmospheres, I think, in the history of this South Florida program. Of course, wherever Wisconsin goes, their fans are there in big numbers, and they're here tonight as the Badgers take on South Florida. Hi, everybody. Paul Carcaterra down on the field. We'll hear from him momentarily. Dave Fleming with you. Great to have Louis Riddick with us. You know Louis, but he's going to be a big part of our college football coverage this year, and we get to see some of the great players in the game throughout our Friday night schedule, including a guy, Louis, that I think you can make a case. Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, all those guys, the most accomplished player in the country coming into 2019 might be Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely. Look, this kid is spectacular, and as good of a player as he is, he's even better young man. We talked to him last night. He is ready to go, and this is a guy who will absolutely just rip your defense apart and actually just take your soul away of your football team because of how he runs the football. Just take a look at this. This is from 2018. Here they come out with a 3 tight end set here against Western Kentucky. It's going to be a weak side counter where they're going to have triple pullers from the strong side, and they're going to have a double team on the weak side. And just watch the damage they do for Jonathan Taylor. Look at the path they clear. And once he gets into the open field, that stiff arm is just deadly. He's just weaving through traffic. He's just making defensive backs embarrassed in terms of the way he makes them look. And then here's another look. 2 tight end set. They're going to double team at the point of attack again. They call it a duo block. 2 double teams at the point of attack. You see it right there where they're going to get movement off the line of scrimmage, and then that little wide receiver motion is really designed to take the free safety and make him think about where the ball is actually going to hit. You see the free safety has a bad path to Jonathan Taylor, and then he's got you at his mercy. To stiff arm again. This is a 10-400-meter sprinter. Once he's in the open field, it is over. That's how you rack up almost 2,200 yards rushing. That's how you become one of the best runners through your first 2 years in the history of college football.
Herschel Walker, Ricky Williams, Adrian Peterson, Ron Dane, rattle them all off. Nobody more yards in their first 2 seasons than Jonathan Taylor, who last year was a unanimous first-team All-American. But he and the Badgers are going to be tested by the talent of South Florida, because they do have talent, and also, we think, by the weather. Now, the storms that have moved through have cooled things down. Still, though, it is humid. It feels like it's 88 degrees down on the field, and the kids from Wisconsin, as hard as they've worked all offseason, they have not experienced this.
Yeah, you see that 81% humidity on your screen. That is the great equalizer when you're talking about a team coming from the north, coming down here to play their first game in late August. That will take its toll on a team that hasn't practiced in this kind of atmosphere come the 3rd and 4th quarter. We'll see if Wisconsin can withstand that kind of temperature and whether or not South Florida can take advantage of it.
All right, well, it's almost cruel having to wait all summer long and then wait an extra hour for the players, for the coaches, and yeah, even for the broadcasters. But at long last, after our weather delay, Wisconsin will get the ball first. And the place kicker for the Bulls of South Florida as toe meets leather here in 2019. The college football season begins for the Badgers and the Bulls. And a return out close to the 25, but not quite there, as the offense for the Badgers will take the field. This is a program that has had all that history at running back. They have had some production at quarterback as well. Scott Tolzien did a great job for his couple years as a starter. We know all about Russell Wilson as a transfer, what he did for the Wisconsin program. Joe Stave was kind of up and down with performance, but mostly stability at that position. The last couple years, maybe a little bit less so. The wins and losses for Alex Hornibrook were tremendous. Jack Coan, though, now takes over as the starter. As this year begins, it'll be his 5th career start. And the Badgers have talked a lot about how much he has improved, but this is a different kind of test for him as Wisconsin has the ball. First play of scrimmage here in 2019, and why not give it to number 23, Jonathan Taylor, who tried to get to the outside and could not quite do it.
Yeah, they tried to hit the ball straight up the gut again. Strong side power, one of their bread and butter runs out of 21 personnel. 2 backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, very traditional set. It's a good way to start. Nice conservative run.
Yeah, you showed the 2 examples of the big plays, and that's really, Jonathan Taylor is good at a lot of things, but he springs more big plays than any other running back in the country. And that's what South Florida has talked a lot about this week. They do not want to allow the 30, 40, 50-plus yard rushes that are the specialty for Wisconsin. Taylor gets that one close to first down distance, but I don't think he quite got there. Vincent Davis, the safety, may have stopped him about a half a yard short.
Yeah, you see they switched up the personnel grouping there. 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 1 back. Again, working that left side, running behind number 71, Cole Van Lanen. You're going to hear that name a lot tonight because he's going to be a high draft pick starting at left tackle for Wisconsin.
So 3rd and 1, they'll bring in an extra big tight end. That's an extra tackle, David Mormon. And run the ball straight ahead. Taylor will get the first down. Not a whole lot more, but the first down of the year for the Badgers. You mentioned the left tackle, Cole Van Lanen. It is a question mark. They have talent on the offensive line, but this is the first time in 20 seasons that Wisconsin has had as few as 1 starter returning, and that's the situation for the Badgers along the offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good thing that they have that starting returner at center with Tyler Biadasz, who is someone who's played a lot of football for him. He's the guy who's at the center of the command and control center. He sets everything up for the rest of them.
That has been so much the identity of this program. Taylor gets away from 1, but not a second would-be tackler in the backfield taken down. And Kirk Livingstone ultimately was the guy who got him on the ground. A nice play by the South Florida team defense for the negative yardage play.
Yeah, this is the kind of play that you need to make. You got to whip your guy at the point of attack, and you see Livingstone do that. This is the kind of thing that Charlie Strong said that they needed to do. They needed to stay square, control blocks. If you can get off the block quick enough and still maintain gap integrity and tackle the running back in the backfield, you're doing your job.
No shock. Wisconsin 4 plays, 4 rushes. So Jack Coan, the junior, starting the season as a starter. A little misdirection and the speed of A.J. Taylor. He got to the outside, but took a pretty big hit to set up 3rd down. Bentley Sanders is flying around the field here early.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you're going to have to play good team defense. You're going to have to play gap, sound defense. You're going to have to run to the football, and tackling is going to be the key. No yards after contact, because Jonathan Taylor, that's where he's made his living. And if you don't get him on the ground and he breaks one of those 80-yard runs, then all the work that you've done to kind of keep him contained will go out the window very, very quickly.
So 3rd and 7, and it is loud. Coan pressured, throws across the middle and completes it right near midfield. And that is Quintez Cephas, who is a big story for this Wisconsin team. His first catch in a long time, and it's a Badgers first down.
Absolutely. Quintez Cephas is one of the best route runners that they have, one of the best athletes that they have. And his contribution is going to be key tonight. You had one-on-one coverage on the backside, runs a square in. Jack Coan puts it right on him, and you move the chains. He's going to play a big role tonight, folks.
So a first down conversion across midfield. Wisconsin's offense with the ball first in this game. On the move now. That was a nice throw from Jack Coan. And a play fake. He'll dump it short to a wide open target. That's the fullback Chanel, and John Chanel barrels forward for a first down. 12-yard gain. We may see a little more of that from the Badgers. They are still big and strong up front, but one thing they talked to us about is the fact that without a lot of depth at the tight end position. You might see a little more of the passing game in early down situations. That was a positive play. 1st and 10. Jonathan Taylor in the backfield is going to get the ball again. And Jonathan Taylor out into the open. There he goes. The first touchdown of the year for number 23. "37 yards.
Seen a common theme show up already. We've already talked about the fact that Cole Van Lanen, the left side of this offensive line, is where Wisconsin is going to want to live tonight. And how many times have you seen him trying? They were poking and prodding the left side of the offensive line, and he finally breaks one. Exactly what South Florida couldn't afford to have happen.
That was an impressive first drive of the year. 8 plays, 77 yards, a mix of running and throwing, and then your Heisman candidate, a guy who's got a chance to go down as one of the great running backs in the history of college football from 37 yards out.
Just a tremendous, tremendous jump cut. Take it to the house, big man.
Is he the best player in college football? He might well be. Jonathan Taylor showed off the skills on the first drive of the year for Wisconsin. A 37-yard touchdown run, and the Badgers with a great start, lead 7-0.
Yeah, it's that inside running game between the tackles, running off the left side. This is where they live. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. This is where he is comfortable. This is where Paul Chryst is comfortable as far as how they try to attack teams. And when you're talking about the opening game of your season, you're just going to do what you do best until you figure out what the other team is trying to do to you, because you don't really know. So with the Wisconsin Badgers, what better way than do what you do best than to just turn around and give it to 23 and you see, just let him go to work. This is one of the best players in the country, folks, and he's going to show that over and over again tonight. And if South Florida doesn't come up with an answer, this game could get out of hand.
I thought they actually defended him pretty well on their first defensive possession.
But you know what it is? It's just that it's that big play, right? You do your work, you do your work, you do your work, you have a breakdown, and then he absolutely rips you. And that's just not what you want to happen.
Well, Zach Hintz, who's got a huge leg. Bentley Sanders, dangerous return man. The question is, will he get a chance here tonight against Wisconsin? And on the first kickoff that he takes, he will not. It's a touchback, and with the USF offense coming on the field, let's say hi to Paul Carcaterra.
Playing college football quarterback is demanding. Well, when you add going to class, being married, and having a toddler at home, Blake Barnett has a full plate. And he's doing an amazing job shuffling it all. At home, Blake and his wife, Maddie, who's a professional surfer, chase their year-and-a-half-old son, Brooks, around. And spending time with them, you realize there is a lot of love in that house. It gives Blake balance, he told me, great perspective. And I'll tell you what, gentlemen, he's an easy young man to root for.
And we'll see. This is a big stage for Blake Barnett, who has another new offensive coordinator. The Bulls are excited about the way their new offense looks, but now under the bright lights. The first pass completed to Randall St. Felix for a nice gain on first down. This is a guy you may recognize the name because Blake was a huge recruit in high school from Southern California. Originally went to Alabama, then went to Arizona State. He's finally ended up here at USF, and it seems like he has found a home. He had a solid year last year. They are looking for a big jump in performance this season. A running play on 2nd and short, and that one goes backwards. Well defended by the Badgers, and Zach Bond leading the way to set up 3rd down. 6 offensive coordinators for Blake Barnett in his college football career. 6. And hoping that number 6 is the perfect fit. Kerwin Bell, who is here in his first year to run this USF offense. On 3rd and 2. They will hand the ball off. Straight ahead run and just no room whatsoever. Close, though, with that finish to the run. And I think Jordan Cronkright ended up getting the first down. Yeah, that was nice power running by him.
Absolutely. That's a tough inside run by Cronkright, lowering his pads at the point of attack. And look, this is where the South Florida Bulls, they're strongest at the guard positions. They have a lot of mass in between there. Kerwin Bell told us this is where they want to try and go ahead and get an advantage, see if they can run the inside runs here. Cronkrite with a nice pickup right there.
We got a glimpse of the new offensive coordinator. This is his first game as a non-head coach in his coaching career. That one, I think, was dropped. That looked like a good delivery to Jannard Phillips, but he could not hang on. So at second down, let's go back to studio for our first check-in with Matt Berry. Matt?
Guys, good evening. Keep it Big Ten. Michigan State has won 10 consecutive season openers here. Brian Lewerke to Connor Hayward. They've got Tulsa in their opener right now. 13-0 Sparty in the second.
No real shock there. No shock that Jonathan Taylor got the first touchdown for Wisconsin here in 2019. Second and 10 here for the Bulls of USF. They just barely get the ball snapped. Handoff. Cronkrite. Nowhere to go. Stacked up. Well, when you're an underdog and you're playing against a talented team, the mistakes have to be limited. I think this was a mistake.
Without a doubt. Look, Blake Barnett puts it right on Phillips on that pass play right there. That's a great scheme design as far as Kerwin Bell is concerned. Getting them in positions where they can get easy completions early. You got to make those plays against a team as powerful as Wisconsin.
Now it's 3rd and 10. Kerwin Bell was a star many years ago at the University of Florida. Pressure coming. Barnett delivers, and the receiver went down. The pass is incomplete. Zach Vaughn got the pressure on Barnett. It's 4th down, and the Bulls are going to punt. So that drop looms large. That would have been a nice gain, a first down out near midfield, maybe beyond. Instead, the possession ends for Charlie Strong's team, coming off a very disappointing finish last year. This is a big season for this South Florida program. Jack Dunn is the punt returner for Wisconsin. Trent Schneider will kick it, and a booming punt, almost an immediate fair catch signal, and the fair catch made back at the 11-yard line. It's a good special teams play, 53-yard punt, but Jonathan Taylor and the Badgers offense back on the field when we come back to Tampa. Chance for them against the Irish of Notre Dame, a weekend wall-to-wall college football to kick off the 2019 season. As Wisconsin has the ball back, 7-0 they lead. Jonathan Taylor, a 37-yard touchdown run on the Badgers' first possession of the game, and Taylor will get the ball on a first down run here and power his way for another Wisconsin first down. Let's go down to Cart.
Well, gentlemen, the weather in Tampa a little bit different than Wisconsin, but you can't say the Badgers haven't prepared for this moment. Tight end Jake Ferguson knew about the heat. He knew about the humidity. So every day after practice the last couple weeks, he sat in a sauna with full sweats on to prepare for this moment. And the crazy thing about it, he said it felt pretty good.
Now, Lewis, does that do anything to get you ready for the actual heat?
I don't know how smart that is, but you know what? I get it. Football players do some strange things sometimes when they get themselves ready. I've been there.
Yeah. Well, there's really no other way to try even to simulate what the Badgers are going to experience here tonight. That was Nakia Watson, the redshirt freshman, getting his first carry of his career. So Watson straight ahead for a gain of 9. And that's where the point that you've been making all week long has been. If USF can hang in this game and make it a game late, you got a chance really to use the heat, the humidity, and maybe some fatigue to their advantage. Another straight ahead run, and that should be good enough for the first down. So Watson with the carry. Let's go back to studio and get another update with Matt Berry.
Exclusively on the ACC Network, Wake Forest against Utah State. First possession of the game, Jamie Newman to Sage Surratt. 7-0 Demon Deacs first quarter over on the ACC Network.
Well, that's kind of a sneaky, interesting game. Utah State coming off a really good year. Dave Clawson's got that Wake Forest program where they are consistently a tough team to play year after year. Wisconsin with all the history and pedigree here, starting their season on the road. Play fake and a deep pass down the middle, incomplete. He had Cephas with a step.
Yeah, that's when you can call this type of play, this type of play action pass. When you're running the football as well as they are, this is where you take a shot down the field to a guy like Cephas, who is just a tremendous one-on-one player. Just stem the cornerback outside and then just take off and put him on your back hip Jack Cohn's just got to put that one on him. You make those kind of plays in the passing game, then this offense is very, very tough to stop. And this is something that Paul Chryst said they need to develop. They can't just rely on JT all the time.
They had so few of those big plays in the passing game last year. They need more of them, despite the fact that they've got number 23 in the backfield. 2nd and 10. And a penalty flag. I think that was early movement from the Badgers. Josh Seltzner, maybe the right guard. We'll see.
False start. Offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty remains. 2nd down.
Somebody on the right side. They called it on the tackle, Logan Bruss. And Wisconsin is confident. They have talent. They have a lot of experience in the middle with Tyler Biadasz. But this is not normally the situation for the Badgers. This little returning starting experience along their offensive line.
Sure, and there's going to be a little bit of a first game jitters type of scenario that's going on here. They'll settle down. Let's just see what Jack Cohn can do here as far as this 2nd and long situation.
2nd and 15, the pressure coming, and he's going to throw it away. I don't know if they were trying to set up a screen or something. That play looked busted from the beginning.
There's no foul for illegal grounding. No receiver was in the area. Third down.
That's exactly what they were trying to do, Dave. They're trying to set up a screen to Garrett Groshek off the right side there, see if they can just make it a 3rd and manageable type of situation. Now they find themselves in 3rd and long. And again, this is where Jack Cohn really has to step up, where he has to take the next step in terms of his progression. Because again, this is what they need to be able to convert these types of things, or at least show like at least some ability to pick up positive yardage in this type of situation in the passing game, because it is what has held this offense back ultimately.
Play clock winding down. They get the play snapped, and they hand it off on 3rd and long. So that's interesting. Groshek didn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. Darius Slade, one of the transfers that USF feels like is going to lead a resurgence on the defensive side of the ball. And that's a big stop for the Bulls to force 4th down.
Yeah, that's about as good a scenario as you can hope for if you're South Florida. Paul Chryst opting to play it conservative here, punt the football, play the field position game, which is true to his character. When you know you have horses like Jonathan Taylor on your side, then you just kind of play this game. You kind of let it just feel itself out. Don't do anything dumb to put you in a bad situation. You have a lot of football left to play.
All right, we'll see if that's returnable. It takes a couple bounces, and that helps Wisconsin big time. It's going to roll all the way down inside the 10. That's where the Bulls will have the ball when we come back. Badgers lead 7-0 Friday night primetime college football here in Tampa.
(2018) 8-5 for the Badgers. It didn't sit well, so the goal: get bigger and stronger. Well, message taken by Chris Orr, their leader on defense, squatting 610 pounds, the senior leader for the Badgers. And guess what? He's a buddy of Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan goes to the weight group after Orr in the morning in summer workouts. He sees what Orr does, and he wants to one-up him every single time.
Good, healthy internal competition for the Badgers, and Orr and the defense on the field. After South Florida forces the punt, Barnett, a couple of fakes, in the pocket, is going to throw down the middle, and the pass is knocked away. Well, the receiver got his hands on it, Eddie McDoom, but could not come up with the ball. And in the end, maybe a nice play by Scott Nelson, the safety.
Yeah, look, Eddie McDoom has to come down with that ball, though, Dave. Those 50-50 balls right there, which really that's not even a 50-50 ball. That's just a flat-out drop. Those are the type of plays that we talked about in the open that they're going to have to make. Out in space, great scheme design, one-on-one, getting wide receiver up on the safety. You just got to come down with those.
Man, that is two very costly drops already for the USF wide receivers in this game. The score might be different if even one of those was made by the Bulls. That handoff straight ahead running for Jordan Cronkright, who started his college football career at Florida. There are a lot of transfers on this USF roster from a lot of powerhouse programs, and Cronkright is a productive back. He's not Jonathan Taylor, but he's a good running back.
Yeah, look, he's a guy who can break a long one just like Jonathan Taylor can. He's not of the same caliber, but he has great in-between the tackles vision, has good long speed. Look, right now, South Florida is playing a good offensive football game. They have a great scheme and a great plan of attack. The wide receivers just have to catch the football. So it's 3rd and 5. You know, the Wisconsin fans are making some noise, and I think
The left tackle moved. Somebody on the left side moved for South Florida.
False start. Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty remains. Third down.
Now the home team affected by the visiting team's fans, I think. Billy Atterbury, who is a new left tackle. He played guard last year. He's moved to the outside.
Yeah, look, you know there's a little bit of nerves starting out there on the edge. You have Zach Baun lined up out there on you. You know he's a good pass rusher. He has a little bit of speed, a little bit of power. You know he's a little bit worried. He'll settle in, though. He'll do just fine.
Pretty good look. A lot of red in the seats here at Raymond James Stadium. So instead of 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 10. Play clock winding down. They get the play off, and Barnett's got time. He'll throw it. He's got a receiver. This time, the ball is caught. That was a big-time throw on a first down for South Florida. And that's Jernard Phillips, who dropped one on the first possession of the game. This time he hangs on.
Yeah, what you saw right there from Blake Barnett is why this kid was such a highly recruited individual coming out of high school. Throwing off of his back foot, fading away from the pressure, throwing it across field like that on a deep sideline route like that. That's about as good as it gets. And Kerwin Bell told us that he had the ability to make all of the throws, just wanted to get him settled in early, get him into a rhythm. He looks like he's not phased at all by this moment.
I think they want to go a little faster. They're not going very fast right now. And remember, this is their first game in a new scheme. Handoff up the middle running for a yard, maybe 2 on first down. Well, Kerwin Bell, who has been a player for a long time, then was a coach at the high school level at Jacksonville University, then at Valdosta State. He has never been, other than as a GA many, many years ago, he's never been an assistant. But he has a history of very powerful offenses. His Valdosta State team last year won the Division II National Championship and averaged 52 points a game. Little misdirection there. And almost like a wide receiver screen to Randall St. Felix. Defended well for a couple of yards.
Yeah, that's a great job right there by the defensive line of Wisconsin, recognizing the wide receiver screen, stopping their pass rush, pursuing to the outside. Bryson Williams there on the tackle. That's exactly how you draw it up. That's tremendous team defense.
Coach of the year in Division II, Kerwin Bell. 52 points a game, better than 500 yards a game. It's his offense. He's perfected it over 2 decades of coaching. And I think South Florida feels like they have a chance to have a really good offensive year with him in charge. 3rd and 6. And play clock down under 5. Barnett gets pressured immediately. He'll throw on the move, and he whistles one behind his intended target. That's the tight end, Mitchell Wilcox. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Jim Leonard from the University of Wisconsin going ahead and bringing some extra pressure from the field side, bringing the nickel safety down and bringing them off the edge. Sometimes you don't always sack the quarterback, but whenever you put him under duress like that, cause errant throws, that's Jim Leonard's forte. He knows how to attack protections. You get him in 3rd and long situations, he's got some stuff for you. And I'll tell you, Blake Barnett will earn it tonight when Jim Leonard starts to call those type of pressures.
Schneider had a brilliant punt. His first one of the night. That one, not so brilliant. It's going to come to a rest at the 40-yard line. Just 34 yards with no return. The Wisconsin offense will come back on the field with good field position after forcing that punt. Well, the only game of the night on Monday, Brian Kelly and Notre Dame, the number 9 ranked team, kind of flying under the radar as far as I'm concerned at the start of the year, on the road against a Louisville program that is rebuilding. Scott Satterfield, who is a very well-respected coach. 8 Eastern, right here on ESPN. It'll stream live on the app. The only game of the night on Monday. Here, Friday night in Tampa, the first weekend of the college football season, the first full weekend. And the Badgers offense with Jack Cohn, the junior quarterback, under center. Back on the field, Jonathan Taylor is as well, and he'll get the ball on first down and carry it for 3 yards. Let's check in on that Wake Forest game again with Matt.
Yeah, we're in the ACC network. Here comes Utah State. 8-play, 75-yard drive. Gerald Bright, 7-yard touchdown. Aggies had the ball again and driving, tied at 7.
Utah State's a good team. That would not be a big upset if they went on the road and beat an ACC team, and a pretty good one. This would be an upset if Wisconsin falls, even playing on the road. Cohn will throw short middle for the completion. A nice little quick move from Kendrick Pryor. I think he got there. very close. In fact, they're going to spot him a little bit short. So short by maybe a foot.
See, that's all that Jack Coan needs to do right there. Get it into the hands of the playmaker. As I like to say, he just needs to be the point guard. They have some tremendous weapons on the perimeter here, guys who can really catch and run and make dynamic plays. And Kendrick Pryor falls into that category. Now you have yourself set up here in a third and short situation. This should be automatic for Wisconsin, given the size advantage that they have. And that grown man they got running the football there, setting that high formation.
Who's going to call timeout? Somebody is. I think Wisconsin.
Timeout.
The play clock
Wisconsin.
was running out.
This is the first of the half.
So a little bit disorganized. Paul Chryst will get organized, and we'll come back for the third down play right after this. It's turned into a beautiful night here in Tampa. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN, and a very big game for South Florida. A chance to set the tone for the season, come up with what I think you would say would be one of the biggest wins in their program's history. But it's not going to be easy. The Badgers, number 19 team of the country out of the Big Ten, have come here to Florida, and they've got a 7-0 lead. Just over a minute to go in the first quarter. Third and less than a yard right near midfield. And their record-setting tailback, Jonathan Taylor, in the backfield for third and a yard. A play fake. Coan is going to throw. Down the field, incomplete. He had Cephas wide open again.
Again, this is going to be a recurring theme for Wisconsin this year until Jack Coan eventually is able to hit these types of throws. Quintez Cephas, when you beat your guy one-on-one like this inside, and I tell you this, Mike Hampton is a good corner, and he's pulling on his jersey, and Quintez is still able to separate downfield. Jack has to be able to buy time in the pocket and hit those. You hit those type of plays, you go ahead and you already have South Florida thinking we can't hang with this football team. You don't hit those type of plays, Charlie Strong brings his team over to the sideline and says, look, we're still in it. Just clean up your play a little bit, and we can continue to play with these guys. Jack has to play better than this.
Cramp for a South Florida player. Kirk Livingstone, I think, is the guy who is down on the field. We will see more of that as this game goes on. Are you as shocked as I am that Wisconsin is punting? I cannot believe that they are punting the ball away.
Yeah, when you're sitting there at midfield and you have Jonathan Taylor in your backfield, and they've already shown that they really don't have an answer for your counter running game on the left side, it is a little bit surprising.
Livingstone gets up. Well, I mean, look, everybody wants to accuse players of being told to hit the ground and fall down and whatnot. On a night like tonight, I'm going to be reluctant to accuse players of doing that because I know there will be some legitimate cramping going on.
Looks like the offense is coming.
To 110.
Yeah, and
1-1-0.
I mean, I wonder if that gave Paul Chryst a chance to reconsider. You cannot punt the ball with the kind of offense and the power run game. They need a foot for a first down there at midfield.
Well, we'll see how they come out here and how they line up. But I would bet they're going to run behind Van Linen 71 over here on the left side. South Florida has had no answer for it.
And now a timeout for the Bulls on defense.
Timeout. South Florida. It's the first of the half. 30 seconds.
Well, South Florida is going to call a timeout. Maybe they weren't totally ready and organized for that fourth down and a yard play. We saw Livingstone hit the grass, and look, I understand there is a sensitivity because players have been told to do that. We're not naive. But you've played in heat like this. It is not fun.
Like I played in 1992. I played in the old sombrero against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when I was with the Atlanta Falcons. And I can tell you this, when a team starts to tempo you on the defensive side, this humidity will take it out of you. I couldn't get my mouthpiece out of my mouth that night, I remember, because I was so dry-mouthed and so dehydrated. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. Didn't wear a mouthpiece from that day forward. Didn't care if I lost all my teeth playing this game.
It is something else playing in the heat and the humidity. Well, the Badgers are going for it on fourth and about a foot. And why not give it to Jonathan Taylor? I mean, that's all they need. That is a no-brainer. And I don't know if they ever really actually considered punting the ball. Last year, Wisconsin ran the ball, and there's a flag after the play. I don't know if that's against South Florida. Maybe a little pushing after the play is over. Wisconsin ran the ball 480 times last season. they had a negative rushing play 18 times. I mean, they never go backwards. When you need a foot.
The result of the play was a first down. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 78. This is 78's first foul for unsportsmanlike conduct.
All right, so Jason Erdman starting at left guard tonight for Wisconsin gets penalized, and that'll move Wisconsin 15 yards back. It is a first down, but that impacts field position greatly. He's trying to explain himself.
Yeah, coaches don't like that when you're on the road, beginning of the season. But at least they got the first down. They got a new set of downs to work with here. Let's see what they come out here with.
So instead of Taylor, it is Watson. The redshirt freshman is getting some time on the field here in the first quarter. Receiver Jack Dunn comes in motion. Another play fake and another throw low. This time it was impacted for sure by the pressure on the quarterback. So incomplete, it'll be second down. And let's go into the studio for an update with Matt.
Dave, fun sports night over on ESPN2. Madison Keys looking to wrap up the match at the U.S. Open, seeking her 5th straight trip to the round of 16. The U.S. Open over on ESPN2. Also ACC Network, some college football fun, along with you guys. Plenty to talk about on a busy Friday night.
All right, Matt, we'll keep you posted on everything that's going on, including here the final minute of the first quarter. Wisconsin and South Florida 7-0 Badgers. Cone throws across the middle. That's a nice delivery. And that's Kendrick Pryor for a first down close to midfield.
That's a nice quick three-step drop, hit the quick slant. Again, just put it on your wide receivers and let them do the work. That's how you pick up first downs. That's how you chew up the clock. That's how you really put the onus on South Florida as far as dealing with the heat, dealing with being on the field too long, imposing your will on a smaller defense. That's exactly what Paul Chryst wants.
I'm not a coach, but they got to find some way to get this quarterback comfortable. He has missed some plays already in this game. He's made some good throws too. Taylor up the middle, nice hole, and a good gain on first down. That will be the end of the first quarter of football for these two teams in 2019. And the Badgers doing it on the ground. The Bulls looking for one of the biggest wins in program history, and they've had their moments, but at the end of quarter number 1, Jonathan Taylor and Wisconsin with the 7-0 lead. Well, one thing, Lewis, we know Wisconsin needs better quarterback play in 2019.
Yeah, Jack Cohen has to hit these big plays. This game could easily be out of reach, 21-0, if he would just hit Quintez Cephas when he's coming free in the middle of the field here. And now they have a second and short coming up here. We come back to play. We're once again on the plus 50-yard line. This is a situation that sets itself up again here and there. 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers on the field. Let's see if they take a shot.
With Taylor in the backfield, almost like a pistol formation. They hand it off to him, and he bounces off one tackler, but not a second and a third. So Taylor goes down. Patrick Macon, one of the grad transfers, leading the way on defense. Greg Reeves was in there as well.
That's a good job of getting penetration at the point of attack. And Patrick Macon just reading his keys, flowing to the football, and making a solid tackle there for no gain, actually a tackle for a loss. That's good, solid defensive play. That's hard to get against a guy like Jonathan Taylor, who is just like a magician as far as preventing negative runs.
So it's 3rd and 4. Badgers have converted 2 of 4 on 3rd down, plus a 4th down conversion thus far in this game, leading 7-0. Pressure comes. Cone is going down. Apparently he didn't see Greg Reeves coming right at him, and the sack for South Florida makes it 4th down. Wisconsin's going to punt.
Yeah, that's a great job by South Florida. In a bad field position situation here. Could have really been in a bind here if they had gotten that second down situation. If they hadn't played it so well, you hear Reeves coming off the edge here. You've also got Dwayne Boyles coming in there. I mean, that's a great job by Charlie Strong and the defensive staff of South Florida of making the most out of a negative situation.
Greg Reeves is a terrific story, a former walk-on who was going to go to Air Force and play football. This punt lands and takes a USF bounce outside the 20. And he earned his way onto this roster and earned more and more playing time even as a freshman. Last year, very unselfish. He moved from defensive end to middle linebacker. I mean, that was way out of his experience. and played middle linebacker. Now he's back at D end, and I think he's much more comfortable.
No question about it. Moving to middle linebacker, that's a tremendous mental strain on you as far as all the things that you're responsible for. And quite honestly, when you're playing defensive end in a defensive scheme, there's not a whole lot really you're responsible for, or a whole lot that is asked of you from a mental perspective. That just speaks to the kid's football character and football intelligence.
All right, so Blake Barnett back on the field. I think he has played well in this first half. His receivers have not helped him much. On first down, he's going to hand the ball off. Upended right near the line of scrimmage. That's the safety, Scott Nelson. He's made a couple plays in the first half.
Yeah, one of the things that they're showing right now is that their safeties are going to be active. They're going to come downhill. They're not going to let Cronkrite get started and not let him get to the second level. Tremendous job by Nelson.
The USF has not used much quick tempo yet. I think they would like to do a little more of it. Barnett pressured, and the ball is up in the air and picked off. The Wisconsin defense is going to score. Matt Henningsen snatched it out of the air.
The ruling on the field is an interception returned for a touchdown.
Whether it's an interception or a fumble, it's a touchdown, Badgers.
That's this tremendous get up on the outside by Zach Baun. Again, beating Billy Atterbury, the former starting right guard, moved out to left tackle for this season. And that was the matchup that the Wisconsin Badgers were hoping they could exploit. Baun is a stud. He's a guy who has speed, who has power. I watched him warm up pregame. He was a guy who looked intense, looked ready to go. And they're exploiting those matchups. That's what football is all about. Finding the guys you can take advantage of and making big plays like that, which can blow the game open now.
A former high school quarterback who now terrorizes quarterbacks. He put the pressure on, got the ball loose, and Matt Henningsen did the rest. Greg Reeves, a former walk-on, so is number 92 for the Badgers. And Wisconsin's defense comes up with a very big play.
Yeah, it's one thing to sack the quarterbacks. It's another thing to cause a turnover and get the ball loose. And big man Henningsen catching it in the air, scoring the touchdown. That's a big man's dream right there.
Well, the storms have given way to what feels like a much more comfortable night. The rain has started to fall a little bit here in Tampa. And the Wisconsin defense with a very big play. It was 7-0. The defense scores a touchdown. Matt Henningsen officially recovering a fumble. That's how it was ruled in the official stats. A strip sack and a fumble. And Henningsen took it to the end zone. Well, the Badgers now with a 14-0 lead. And Zach Hintz, who's got such a strong leg, booms another one into the end zone. Maybe, and no. Taking a knee for the touchback. Let's take another look at that big play by the Wisconsin defense.
Yeah, this is just a tremendous job by Zach Baun here on your right side in the two-point stance, getting off the ball, chopping that inside arm down, and then turning the corner tight and finishing with the arm strip right there. I mean, that's how you draw it up. That's what outside linebacker coaches, pass rush specialists teach you. Don't just go for the sack, especially when you're in negative territory for the offense. See if you can get the strip sack. Henningsen run to the football, catch it in midair, and score, big man. That's a perfect play by Zach Baun. This is a matchup to watch tonight. Number 56 versus number 78, Billy Atterbury.
Dave, you mentioned Zach Baun as a quarterback in high school. Not just a quarterback, he was a dual threat. Averaged 167 yards on the ground in a day and age where three-sport stars are a dying breed. Not Zach Baun. He was a state championship basketball player, a track and field guy, an absolute stud with a motor.
Yeah, he looked like it on that pass rush. He was the guy that South Florida's coaches were most worried about, I think, on the defensive side of the ball for Wisconsin. Meanwhile, how do you have a delay a game after a kickoff and a touchback? That's not good. Well, a 5-yard penalty and another flag. Did they move? Yikes. So that is back-to-back ugly moments for this South Florida offense.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
All right, so another 5-yard penalty. Let's check in studio with Matt.
All right, we have a finish to the Madison Keys match over on ESPN2 US Open. This match point in Keys headed to the round of 16 for the 5th straight year. Coming up next, Novak Djokovic injured, something to watch.
The psyche for the Bulls might be a little bit injured right now, as Barnett on the move will throw high, very high, incomplete on 1st and 20 after a delay of game out of the timeout break and the kickoff touchback, and then a false start at 2nd and 20.
Yeah, you can see right now what Kerwin Bell is going to try to do as far as slowing down the pass rush. He's going to move the pocket a little bit, call some half rolls, allow Blake Barnett to get out on the perimeter, use his athleticism, see if he can find an open receiver there into the boundary. They're worried about this pass rush. You can tell Billy Atterbury right now is struggling. They want to make sure they can keep their quarterback clean and maybe hit some of these big plays down the field as these wide receivers keep dropping.
A converted guard playing left tackle, and he's having a tough first half. Barnett steps up, throws down the middle. It is incomplete. Pretty good coverage there, intended for Xavier Weaver, a true freshman. Be 3rd down and long.
I can tell you this, though. Zach Bond was coming once again. This time he was coming off the defensive left, offensive right side. And if Blake Barnett hadn't stepped up in the pocket, he may have had another strip sack here. So this is something that Kerwin Bell, offensive coordinator of South Florida, is going to have to be aware of. Taking these big shots down the field, yeah, they've been there. But you can tell Wisconsin's front 7 is starting to get a beat on the snap count and getting off the ball. And they're starting to really decipher what the weaknesses are along the South Florida offensive line.
On 3rd and 20, tough spot here for the Bulls offense. Barnett has some time, is going to swing it out right to the tailback Cronkrite, who gets stopped way short of a 1st down. And South Florida's going to have to punt the ball away. That was sloppy, and that is not going to make that guy happy.
Look, so far, Blake Barnett has done all he could do. I mean, he's under pressure right now. His wide receivers are dropping footballs. They can't really get anything going in the running game. It's really not his fault. I mean, Kerwin can get upset with him. He's got to make sure he's got the proper protection, and receivers just have to start catching the football.
That punt could be returnable for Jack Dunn. Well, he tried to return it, didn't have much room in the end. So good special teams coverage by South Florida. But now the challenge for the defense, because Jonathan Taylor comes back on the field, and there is no more accomplished player in the country than the junior tailback, the Doak Walker Award winner last year. He could have won it 2 years ago. No player in history in their first 2 seasons has had more rushing yards than Jonathan Taylor. Not Ron Dayne, not Herschel Walker, not anybody. Those are the only 2 who are really even close. Jonathan Taylor over 4,000 yards rushing in his first 2 seasons.
Incredible. Special player, special kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
He's strong. He's big enough. He's tracked fast. He takes the ball over the left side and gets to midfield. A little extra finish there got him almost 5 yards on 1st down.
Those are kind of grinding runs that can wear down an undersized defensive front. When these big men, these offensive linemen for Wisconsin, despite their inexperience, when they start to get into a groove, and one of the ways you get offensive linemen into a groove is by running the football, they gain confidence. They all of a sudden start to know that they can impose their will, and the mental part of that is a big win right now for Wisconsin.
2nd and 4. A play fake and a receiver wide open. Cone delivers the ball. That's Kendrick Pryor, has been active in the first half. 1st down and much more inside the 40, close to the 35. Well, I thought the first quarter USF basically played even with Wisconsin. And Taylor had a nice run on the first possession. It was 7-0, but the Bulls felt like they were very much in this game. That feeling is hanging in the balance right now.
Yeah, if Wisconsin punches this in here now, they go up 3 scores, then they got a monstrous uphill to climb here, and they're going to have to do something to get them off the field here, at least hold them to 3.
Can they come up with a big play on defense? Cone will throw nearly to the other team. Hampton had a chance. You wonder if the little drizzle, the football's wetter than it was. Maybe that is going to start impacting play a little bit.
And this is a play that Mike Hampton has to make for his football team. You get your hands on the football like that, you got to go out and extend and make that kind of play and give your offense another crack at it. You can't short arm the football like that. You're in great position. You're on top of the wide receiver positionally from a leverage perspective. And Jack Coan continues to be off target. You have to take advantage of those opportunities.
So it's 2nd and 10. And that's what South Florida badly needs. Some kind of big play. Taylor's going to get the ball in the passing game, and there's the speed. Cutting it upfield, out into the open. Taylor, touchdown. All he needs is a little room.
And this is what they talk about, getting him involved in the passing game on 1st and 2nd down, and not necessarily just on 3rd down, which is where you always expect teams to throw the football, especially in 3rd and medium situations. Just get him the ball out in the flat and let him do his thing. And there, we just talked about the fact that Mike Hampton needed to come up with that interception. Now you see what happens. You don't turn the ball over, give your offense a shot. Now you let Jonathan Taylor get out there on the perimeter one-on-one against your perimeter players, and it's over. He's just too good for that. That's why this guy's going to probably be in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, or at least he should be, because of things like that. He can do it all.
He's got a 37-yard touchdown run in the first half. Now he's got a 36-yard touchdown catch and run. And Wisconsin has opened it up with the extra point pending. Colin Larsh, who is essentially a first-year place kicker, won the job in camp. His kick is up and good. So he's 3 for 3 on point after attempts. And Jonathan Taylor, they said they want to get him the ball in different ways. Does this count?
Absolutely it does. Look, 1st and 2nd down passing game, just getting the ball in space, let him use his tremendous athletic ability one-on-one, and it's to the house once again.
Back in Tampa, time to take a look at Do More in a Jiffy, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Jonathan Taylor for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Yeah, tremendous play design here. They get 2 pullers out here in the open space, get a hat on a hat. Quintez Cephas run a little interference in here, a little pick route. Jonathan just going to swing out the backfield like right here. Jack Coan put it on him, and then just let him go to work. And you'll just see it just absolutely happens beautifully. You see the offensive linemen get their block downfield. Quintez Cephas comes back and gets another block. Then again, you see that 400-meter speed just show up. I mean, you have no shot when teams get you one-on-one, hat on a hat like that, and you got a kid with this kind of physical ability out there in the open field.
Jonathan Taylor, 110 total yards. South Florida, 29 total yards. A long way to go in this game. This is a new system, new offensive coordinator. Some new talent for the Bulls. That kickoff, a rare returnable kickoff, maybe by design. But South Florida's got some explosion in the return game. Not this time. The ball comes out. It's on the field. At the end of that play, the ball squirted out. And a scramble for it. A USF very lucky to get the ball back. Bentley Sanders, you can understand wanting to try to make a play. His team down 3 touchdowns, and yet that was almost a disaster.
Yeah, look, what you saw right there was hard-hitting safety Reggie Pearson, who they alerted us to. This guy's an absolute hammer. You see him here on special teams, puts his shoulder right on the ball. And then you see everybody else come in there. All of his buddies are coming to the party, stripping at that football. That's how you set the tone. That's how you let the opposing team know it's going to be a long night. We may be up 21-0, but we're still here to play. We got a long way to go. We got 2.5 quarters left to play. It's not over.
Yeah, Sanders is feeling it from that hit. And Pearson may not get credit for the strip of the ball, but he set it up with a very big hit. Now the Bulls offense desperate to get things going into traffic, but a nice delivery complete to Randall St. Felix for a gain of maybe 8. There is a penalty flag on the field, though. So we'll see if that play stands or what.
Ineligible receiver, downfield. Number 89 was covered up and went downfield on a forward pass. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that's essentially a formation mistake by USF. So that negates the gain and moves South Florida 5 yards back.
It's hard. It's real hard to win in spite of those types of errors that you're making here in your home field, where you've had a chance to make some big plays down the field and maybe match Wisconsin score for score. There's no way you can win this football game or get back in it committing errors like that.
Well, they've had 2 huge drops on offense and now 4 big penalties. Set up that little slant screen for a short gain. Let's go into studio and get an update with Matt.
Guys, don't look now, but Army's opened up the offense. Kelvin Hopkins Jr. to Kel Walker. Army only threw 7 touchdown passes all of last season. They hang on to beat Rice 14-7. And over on the ACC network, Utah State and Wake Forest, Jordan Love to Jordan Nathan. 27-yard touchdown in Utah State up on Wake Forest.
Nice pass from Jordan Love, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. More pressure for Wisconsin, but a good completion from Barnett to Bryce Miller, who is a walk-on transfer. He's got a chance to be a big part of this USF offense.
Yeah, this is someone the USF coaching staff really talked about highly. Nice little slot receiver with good short area quickness in one-on-one situations. He can get those 8 to 10-yard catches, 7, 8-yard catches, put you in nice third and manageable situations. Let's see if they can come up with something here to move the sticks and keep their defense off the field, because right now they're on their heels whenever Jonathan Taylor is out there offensively.
South Florida just so desperately needs to keep the ball for a little while. A fake to Miller, and Barnett throws. That one is caught. He had 2 receivers kind of in line, and the tight end, the first one, got his hands on the ball. Mitchell Wilcox for a Bulls first down.
Yeah, that's a good job by Blake Barnett. He's been under pressure a lot now here recently. You see people hitting him as he's throwing the football there. You see Orr get a good shot on him. And Mitchell Wilcox is someone who they wanted to take advantage of as well in the middle of the field. A nice pass-catching tight end. Good hands, good route runner. They got a first down here. Let's see if they can continue to move this ball down the field and chew up some time on the clock and get their defensive rest.
Now, this is their best field position of the game. The farthest they have advanced up the field so far. And they almost went backwards on first down. Zach Vaughn is everywhere for this Wisconsin defense. So it'll be second down. They officially gave him a gain. Not much, but maybe a half a yard. Barnett throws again, and that one tipped up and intercepted on the deflection. Another turnover. Wisconsin comes up with the ball. Eric Burrell, the junior safety, and that one was easy.
Look, it's starting to rain here at Raymond James Stadium. The ball's a little bit slick. Wisconsin knows that you have to throw the football. You're down 3 scores. The defensive backs are playing with a lot of confidence. This is just not setting up well for Blake Barnett. It's really not his fault. But right now, he's got a tough hill to climb.
So South Florida fans are wondering, how do we get this thing turned around? The second turnover of the first half came right to Eric Burrell, and the Badgers offense back on the field. The new offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell, a little cranky here in the first half. Well, Kerwin Bell's unhappy about a few different things here, but I think he was looking for a penalty flag on this last play that turned into an interception.
Yeah, that's aggressive defensive back play, and Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator of Wisconsin, is going to coach it that way. Play it tight, make the referees make the call. If they don't make the call, then it's a good play.
And the ball was tipped up in the air, turned into an easy pick. Second turnover for the Wisconsin defense. Jonathan Taylor back in the game on 1st and 10. He'll get the ball right side running. All right, look, he has 2 long touchdown plays in this first half. I think overall the South Florida defense has not done a terrible job against him.
Now, that's another good job by Patrick Macon, the middle linebacker, of just flowing to the football, making good, sound, fundamental tackles. There's no question that South Florida has shown the ability to play with Wisconsin on occasion here, but it's the big plays right now. It's when they get them one-on-one out in space and Jonathan Taylor has room to work. That's where they get themselves in trouble.
Well, what did we say? They had 18 negative rush plays all of last year in 13 games. They've got 3 in the first half of this game. That's a nice delivery, but the ball's on the turf and scooped up by South Florida. I think whistled out of bounds. So the play is dead. KJ Sales came up with the ball. It was Jake Ferguson, the tight end, who had it. Patrick Macon, the middle linebacker, put the hit on to strip the ball away. I'm sure Wisconsin is wondering, was it a catch? Did he have it? Was it a fumble? But I think it was.
Yeah, continuing to show up here as far as making plays on the ball. This is a nice, easy throw. You know, weather is starting to play a factor. You see that Ferguson has the ball in his left hand and that injured hand, and maybe he can't secure the ball the way he normally would, but that's a great fundamental tackle. This is the kind of break that South Florida needed. Now they have good field position. Now they got to get themselves back into this football game despite the weather conditions. You know they're going to throw it. Receivers are just going to have to come up with making plays.
Yeah, in fairness to Jake Ferguson, he had surgery on that left thumb just a matter of a couple weeks ago. Barnett pressured immediately, and Barnett is going to go down. Sacked by Wisconsin. And Matt Henningsen, who had the fumble recovery and the touchdown earlier, now gets Barnett to the ground.
They look long developing plays where Blake Barnett is holding on to the football too long are not going to work because this defensive line is getting geared up. They're able to beat their guys one-on-one now. He's going to have to get the ball out of his hands quick. That's something that Kerwin Bell said was going to be an emphasis in this ball game.
And the South Florida offense is struggling. 2nd and 18. Barnett on the move, throws high again into coverage again. Well, Barnett has not gotten a lot of help, but we're starting to see him force things a little bit.
Yeah, this is what happens. Now he's getting between a rock and a hard place, so to speak, as the old axiom goes. Pass protection is breaking down, so Kerwin starts to move the pocket, calls some half rolls. When they are in the pocket and they get good enough protection, wide receivers are dropping the ball. When it's tight coverage, the receivers aren't winning one-on-ones and they're getting interceptions. Nothing's really working for them right now. They just need a big break. They need a big play.
It's 3rd and 18. It's going to take one here. Barnett throws. That is caught. And now they run after the catch. Just not enough there. Randall St. Felix, who's good in the open field, but wrestled down at the South Florida 45. So you come up with a big turnover. You have good field position, and you end up with a 3-and-out.
Yeah, that's deflating. It's deflating, and we just talked about, you know, the breakdowns that they're having. Protection, ball not coming out quick because the coverage is good in the back, and Blake's not able to make quick decisions. And then when he does put it on the wide receivers, they're dropping it. You have to correct at least 2 of those in order for you to have some kind of shot here. But they desperately need a big play, like a turnover here on a punt, another interception. Otherwise, they just won't get back into this.
So the punt coming. And over the head of the return man, bouncing into the end zone. So we will take a timeout ourselves on this summertime night in Tampa, Florida. The Bulls down big to number 19, Wisconsin.
Matt Barry here in our college football studio. How do you like your Friday night? I like it with sports. Over on ESPN2, Novak Djokovic underway. He's up 2-1 first set. ACC Network has a good one between Utah State and Wake Forest. And, of course, Wisconsin and South Florida all scotty early on. Guys, back to you.
All right, Matt, thanks. The Badgers number 19 in the initial college football poll. And hoping for even a better season than that. And a good start for the Badgers, up 21-0. Defense playing particularly well, I think. Jonathan Taylor gets the carry on first down.
Lewis and Dave, when we met with Jonathan Taylor last night, he said he wanted to put his receiving skills on tape. We saw his touchdown earlier on through the air from Jack Cohn. That's his first career receiving touchdown. He had only 8 receptions all of last year. Jack Cohn and Jonathan Taylor spent a ton of time in the offseason getting their timing down, and Jonathan said it's all about the reps, reps, reps to the point where he can play fast and it's natural. This guy's a threat catching the ball out of the backfield. Good night.
All right, Cart, thanks. Ferguson hangs on to this one, the completion for the rather short game. Jonathan Taylor has had a big first half, his first half of 2019. This was the first possession for the Badgers, 37 yards, 1 cut, and to the end zone. And this is the play that Paul was talking about.
Yeah, this is just easy pitch and catch and let him go to work. That's a quarterback's favorite route right there. He gets all the credit for all the yardage, and he didn't even throw the football down the field. But that's what it's all about. It's about complementary football play. Quarterbacks complimenting the receivers, receivers complimenting the running backs.
It's 3rd and 4. Taylor not on the field for this 3rd down play. Groshek in the backfield. He's going to get the catch with a blocker out in front. Upfield for the 1st down and more outside the 40. Well, Logan Bruss, the big right tackle, held his block and made it pretty easy for Garrett Groshek.
Yeah, this is a good play call by Wisconsin as far as getting Jack Coan comfortable. Just get the ball to Groshek, get Bruss out there on the perimeter on Reeves. You see him, he covers him up perfectly. And then just let the runners run. That's what they instinctively do. And that's how you're able to gain positive momentum in the passing game. It isn't always about hitting the big plays down the field. It's just about getting completions, getting your quarterback in a rhythm. And that's what they seem like they're trying to do.
Logan Bruss, the right tackle, he's one of those new Wisconsin offensive line starters. 4 out of the 5 are officially first-year starters. Logan's played a lot of football, though. Taylor up the middle, breaks a tackle. Again, South Florida has done a decent job against him on the ground game. It's 2nd down.
See, this is what Wisconsin does. It isn't always the big runs, although they're the most spectacular ones and they're the ones that make SportsCenter highlights. But it's those 4- and 5-yard runs that you sit there and you just go, oh, yeah, that was nice. But what it's doing is just wearing the defense down, wearing the defense down. That's why you see Jonathan's yards per carry really ramp up in the 3rd and 4th quarters. Because I can tell you from having played defense my entire life, you get tired of hitting a guy like this. You get tired of seeing him come into the 2nd and 3rd level untouched.
2nd and 4. Taylor still on the field. A play fake to him and a completion to Kendrick Pryor, who's been the top target so far for Wisconsin. He's tough to bring down. The play was blown dead. The ball ended up popping out, but the play was whistled dead. So that's going to be a 1st down, Wisconsin.
The ruling on the field.
That's Pryor's 4th catch of this first half.
But this is a very underrated receiving corps for Wisconsin. Although they're known for running the football, they have guys outside that are dynamic playmakers. And Paul Chryst is being very creative as far as how he's trying to make his passing game seem more dynamic. Short passes there look like a little bit of an RPO. Pull it, throw it outside, get him one-on-one on the outside, being Kendrick Pryor, and just getting positive yardage and keeping the chains moving.
What do you call this? Like a 4-minute style offense for Wisconsin here. Under 2 minutes to go now in the first half. They give the ball to Jack Dunn. And the clock will wind. Wisconsin's got 2 of their 3 timeouts left. I mean, I think ideally they would like to finish this half with the ball still. They would like to finish it in the end zone with the ball.
No question. And I think what you're seeing, though, just the way they're going about it, they're living up to exactly what they told us, which was we don't always want to have to get in big personnel and just run the ball between the tackles and put it on Jonathan. We want to spread it out a little bit, utilize 3 wide receivers, utilize a little bit more creative play calling. You're seeing that here. They're trying some things here to see what they can get going.
They are taking a lot of time. I don't even know if this is 4-minute offense. Ferguson takes a big hit, and the clock will wind. Is Wisconsin going to use a timeout? No. So the clock's still moving. Under a minute to go. It'll be 3rd down and what, about 3? Well, you see the field goal target line. That's with their primary kicker, Colin Larsh. They've got Zach Hintz, who maybe has a little more range than that. They're up 21-0. I'm not sure Paul Chryst is worrying too much about a field goal. The handoff, and that's a 1st down. That's Garrett Groshek with a nice carry. The clock will stop as they reset. A couple big plays by the junior Garrett Groshek. 8-play drive, 52 yards so far. And the clock will now start. So Coan, good practice and a little time management for a quarterback who doesn't have a ton of experience. He faked it to Taylor, kept it, and takes a hit. And now Wisconsin will use a timeout. They have 1 left with 20 seconds to go in the first half.
Timeout. Wisconsin is the 2nd charge of the half. 30 seconds in length.
So timeout for the Badgers. And while we have a moment, let's get another update in studio with Matt Barry.
Thank you, Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, Matt Barry coming up on a Wells Fargo halftime report. Big Ten looks good tonight. Wisconsin's defense looks good.
It's good to see them making plays again. For 3 years before last season, this is a dominant defense. Last year, they take a step back, couldn't get pressure on the quarterback, couldn't create takeaways. They're doing that in the first half. And, Joey, we know when Taylor's running the ball and they're playing defense, they're tough to beat.
Yeah, it's been a Jonathan Taylor show. He's doubled the amount of yards that USF has gotten in this game. It's wet, it's sloppy, hard to tackle a back like Taylor.
We'll talk Oregon-Auburn quarterbacks. Plus, these guys have locks. Not just any locks, virtual locks.
Virtual locks. Is that hedging or is that? I mean, that's different
exactly
than like that's not a stone cold lock.
Virtual, yeah. That's not, it's like not really real, but kind of real.
We may be grading Joey and Jesse at halftime. 20 seconds on the clock, second down. Wisconsin. Cone throws across the middle. Cephas with a nice catch inside the 10. Down to about the 7-yard line. The clock stops momentarily. Wisconsin might get to the, looks like Paul Chryst wants to kill the clock here on first down. So you can't waste time with this. This is good practice for these situations. They roll the clock. I mean, that's wasted time. That took 4 seconds.
Yeah.
That should not take 4 seconds.
Yeah, they got to be more efficient down here. And I'll tell you, Jack Cone has to show that they can actually get the ball in. This is an area where he struggled last year as far as throwing the football. They do a good job of scheming people open. As you can see, they have a nice passing tree as far as how they set things up in this red zone area. They were in the high red zone, and now they're down here in the low red zone. Let's just see if they can go ahead and get this ball in here. And what they choose to do, whether it is running it, which I don't think they'll do, they're going to throw it here and see if they can get Cephas maybe open.
There was a penalty flag thrown. So the officials are talking about what the call is. And I'm being hard on Jack Cone, but if you want to be a championship team, these are moments where you're trying to clean up a few small details. It should not take 4 seconds to get to the line and kill the clock.
Offense number 61. This foul happened under a minute with the live clock. However, Wisconsin's chosen to take a timeout to stop the 10-second subtraction.
Well, if you get the 10-second subtraction, the first half is over. So you burn your final timeout. And now Paul Chryst has to decide, do we take a chance and throw one to the end zone? Do we kick a field goal with 8 seconds to go in the first half? So they're talking about that. We get a chance to remind you, Sports Center from LA Friday tonight after Colorado State, Colorado. So we get another game following us. Linda Cone, Stan Verrett will be with you. Kirk Herbstreit's interview with Tua Tagovailoa. Ice Cube in studio predicting the Raiders season and Matt Berry's best bets for your fantasy team on ESPN tonight. Late night, 1 Eastern after Colorado State, Colorado.
The game clock for 9 seconds.
So 9 seconds. They will put 9 seconds on the clock. I think you like the Raiders' chances this year.
I absolutely do. I think people are sleeping on the Raiders. I don't think they're giving John Gruden and Mike Mayock, the general manager, enough credit for the job they've done this offseason, really upgrading the talent, the speed, the youth of that football team. We get to see them opening weekend Monday night against the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to surprise some people.
So who do you trust, Louis Riddick or Ice Cube?
Yeah. I'm interested to hear what Cube has to say.
Okay. He is a big Raiders fan. All right, 9 seconds on the clock. Cone from the pocket throws short, and the pass. Taylor stretches. He got there. Touchdown. What an effort from Jonathan Taylor. He never had a receiving touchdown in his career. Now he's got 2 on the first night of 2019. I thought that was disaster when he threw the ball, and Taylor made it work.
That's a tremendous job by Jonathan Taylor. They had him split out wide, had an empty formation. You know when they had going empty like that and they have Jonathan Taylor in the game, why else would they put him out there unless they were trying to get the ball to him? And again, that's just the quarterback's best friend. When you have a receiver you can throw a short pass to and then he can break 2 tackles like this and punch it in, that's how you get your completion percentage up. That's how you get your red zone passer rating up. That's how you go up 27-0 in the first half and possibly 28.
It is 28-0. What a great effort from Jonathan Taylor. If he's tackled short, that's the end of the first half. They get no points.
Yeah, it's great awareness. It's great situational awareness by that young man. And he's just proven what we talked about in the open, Dave. He's a do-it-all type of player. He was dead set on making sure that people knew he was more than just a 2-down player. Paul Chryst had a plan as far as integrating him into the passing game, and they've executed it beautifully. And look, South Florida, they just need to get back in the locker room here at halftime and regroup. The wide receivers really have to pick it up. They have to help Blake Barnett out. And they have to take advantage of some of these opportunities that they're getting, whether it be through turnovers or what have you. But if they don't do that, Jonathan Taylor's just going to continue to have a monstrous day. I mean, here's his first touchdown run on a weak side lead. where you see tremendous vision, tremendous jump cut ability, and he can just take it to the house. They get him outside here on a little swing pass. Good blocking down the field, out there by the wide receiver Cephas, and he's in for the touchdown. Here, another just a little dump pass where you got to tackle him short and go into the halftime thinking, you know what, maybe we have a chance here if we can get a couple big plays. But he breaks 2 tackles, shows you why he's one of the great players in college football this year, one of the great players in college football in the history of college football. And that's how you find yourself down 28-0.
I don't think that's an exaggeration. This guy has a chance to go down as one of the all-time great players in the history of this sport. And of all those plays, that last one really impressed me, because that's do or die. You have to get there. They'll squib the kick, and that likely will end this first half. It's kind of gone like that for the Bulls. Nothing going right. Wisconsin, you got to give them a lot of credit for the way the first half unfolded. 28-0 Badgers, with an impressive performance led by that guy, Jonathan Taylor. And we talked about maybe the most accomplished player in college football coming into the year with all the talk about the quarterbacks. But that guy has been the star. Let's go down on the field with his head coach and Paul Carcaterra.
Coach, 4 new starters on the offensive line. How would you assess that unit?
Well, I think, you know, it's we've done some good stuff, obviously. And, you know, I think there's a little bit of moment there where we kind of our second, third, right, we just got to get into a rhythm a little bit more. But, you know, defense did a good job of taking the ball away. And, you know, obviously it was a big play by Henne on that one. But we just, you know, we can play cleaner. We can play better. And there's, you know, more football to be played.
South Florida has a new offensive coordinator. You didn't really know what to expect. You've held them scoreless. Where has your defense been at its best?
Well, I think they're playing, you know, good team defense, and when we're getting some opportunities for some takeaways, you know, they've taken advantage of that, and so obviously, you know, it does help when you get a sense of how they're going to play. I'm sure there'll be some different things that we got to see and be able to adjust to, but, you know, all in all, you know, I kind of like the way they're playing right now.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Ever understated Paul Chryst, who told us we want to get the ball to this guy in the passing game. And what did Wisconsin do in the first half? They got it to Jonathan Taylor in the passing game. 28-0 Wisconsin. It's time for the Wells Fargo halftime report with Matt, Joey, and Jesse.
Looking so good, it feels like Friday night.
A lot of Jonathan Taylor, really impressive Wisconsin defense. Add it all up, 28-0 Badgers as we get ready to start the third quarter. And let's go down on the field to Paul Carcaterra.
We have to catch the ball. That's what Charlie Strong just told me. Offensively, he's actually happy with his quarterback play from Blake Barnett. He said he's distributing the ball. He's finding receivers. They blew 2 opportunities in that first quarter where they could have had some big plays. Defensively, not stopping Wisconsin on third down is allowing the Badgers to just run it down South Florida's throat and keeping that defense on the field.
All right, so that's the word from the head coach of South Florida, Dave Fleming, Louis Riddick, along with Paul Carcaterra back here in Tampa. All right, what does South Florida have to do to get it going?
I think Charlie Strong said it best. They have to catch the football. They can't really worry about balance at this point. They had -4 yards rushing in the first half. That doesn't really matter now. You're down 28-0. You're going to have to throw the football. Blake Barnett has played about as good as he can possibly play in many respects. He's under duress now. You're seeing how Kerwin Bell's going to have to change up his play calling, move the pocket a little bit because they've identified a weakness on the South Florida offensive line. So they're going to have to hit some big plays. They're going to have to hit some big strikes down the field, and then they're going to have to get off the field on third down when Wisconsin has the football.
I know it seems weird to say it, what Charlie said, what you said, because it's 28-0, right? The score looks so lopsided. There were 2 enormous drops by South Florida early in the first quarter. The first 2 times they had the ball. Both would have been big plays. The game was still very much a game back then. And this is their first possession. That's wide open ball right in the hands of Phillips, and a drop. That's a big play down the field and dropped. And then I don't know if you call that a drop, but a tip ball interception. And Wisconsin's defense gets a lot of credit for the way things went in that first half. But those mistakes were really costly. Now that throw was not on the money, intended for Bryce Miller. It'll be third down.
And look, what Blake Barnett's going to have to do is not get inside of his own head and start pressing, start trying to play outside of the framework of the offense. He's done pretty much what is necessary for him to do. If his receivers will go ahead and come up with some of these plays, then they'll be able to move the football and sustain some drives and keep Wisconsin off the field.
3rd and 2. Pressure picked up. That throw with a lot of contact, but the pass incomplete. No penalty flag. Rashad Wildgoose with the coverage, and Barnett looking toward the sideline. That's going to be a stare down, and you don't need to be an expert lip reader to know what the offensive coordinator Kerwin Bell just said.
Yeah, pre-snap read right there. They knew he had man-to-man coverage. They tried to run what they call a slot fade. The number 2 wide receiver just fading it out towards the sideline, got to beat the defensive back one-on-one, and Wildgoose had the receiver jammed up, couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to win those one-on-ones if you want to have any shot.
So that could not be a more discouraging way to start the second half. There is a penalty flag thrown. It was only 4th and 2, just in case that's against the defense. That could be an impactful penalty. Not a real good rugby-style punt. So we'll see what the flag is.
Illegal formation. Kicking team have more than 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
And it just continues.
Yeah, it's the first game, a lot of mistakes. And early on, the Wisconsin quarterback, Jack Cohn, he made some mistakes.
Yeah, I think they're showing you, though, from a schematic perspective, what they want to be this year. They just don't want to be the power running team. They know they have weapons on the perimeter, so they try to take some shots down the field, and he missed them early. Then they dialed it back a little bit. He hit some short throws. Quintez Cephas is continuing to show you why he is such a dynamic player, and all of a sudden Jack Cohn settles into a rhythm. If this team can show you this kind of versatility run pass, they're going to be tough to deal with.
11 for his last 12. Now a lot of the yardage came on run after the catch, but that's okay. Jonathan Taylor bounces it outside with blockers in front. Jonathan Taylor immediately into South Florida territory on his first carry of this second half.
These one-back counters, these one-back powers, running to the left side again behind Cole Van Lanen. You see they're pulling the guard, pulling the tight end. Good blocking downfield by Kendrick Pryor as far as stalk blocking is concerned. And Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he's 10 yards down the field before anybody's even near him. That's just too easy on the part of South Florida, but that's exactly what Wisconsin is.
Taylor has 3 total touchdowns in this game already, and now up to 97 yards rushing. Cohn throws. And on target there to A.J. Taylor along the sideline for a gain of 9.
It's a nice fundamental basic out route by A.J. Taylor. I mean, it's just exactly how you want it. Hit your back foot, Jack Cohn, let the ball go, put it on the money, let him step out of bounds. You've got 2nd and 1, almost a first down. That's just good fundamental football.
One team, fundamentally sound, mostly mistake-free.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
The other team, basically the opposite. 2nd and 1 with Taylor in the backfield. Wisconsin's looking to put this game away. What a move. Taylor, there's the speed. Jonathan Taylor, off he goes. Another touchdown. And that in its own way was pretty spectacular. His 4th touchdown of this game. It puts him well over 100 yards rushing. That one 38 yards. That's been his distance in this game. 37-yard run, 36-yard pass, now a 38-yard run. 4th touchdown for Jonathan Taylor.
The run play that they ran to the left behind Van Lanen just 2 plays ago, they just came back and repeated it and ran it to the right. Same formation, just pull the left guard this time, have the tight end line up left, pull right. They just run it behind the right tackle this time. This time it goes for 6. It's pretty simple.
And there was a lot of traffic that time, and he found his way into a crease. And the theme of the game, what you've been saying over and over about this guy is, once he gets out in the open, you're just not catching him.
Yeah, I mean, look, they are tremendous blockers. They're so efficient up front and covering people up. They don't always knock people on the ground, but they put a body on a body, and they just let Jonathan go to work. And when he goes to work like this is the result.
You know, it was 20 years ago, this sort of modern era tradition of great Wisconsin running backs started with Big Ron Dayne, number 33, who just muscled and bulled and bullied his way to the Heisman Trophy. And who knows, maybe 20 years later, the Badgers have a pretty good chance at another trophy, because Jonathan Taylor is making a statement here in his opening game of 2019. He has 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air, and Wisconsin is just taking it to a team that I think thought they could win this game. 35-0, 2 minutes into the second half.
Look, they got themselves into trouble, Dave, early in the game when you're dropping footballs, not taking advantages of opportunities against a football team that you know wants to play a certain way. They're going to hog the ball. They're going to run out the clock. They're not going to give you many shots at it, so you have to take advantage of yours.
Yeah, and they're going to use Jonathan Taylor because he's one of the best players in college football. And it's not just a system running back. You know, Jonathan decided this year to run some track in the offseason. So he joined the Wisconsin track team, and he participated in the Penn Relays.
Yeah, that's back in the hometown, man, for me. But the Penn Relays are one of the great track and field events put on around the world. And just look at Jonathan Taylor. I mean, this is a 220-pound man running the second leg of a 4x100 relay team. And you see it out here now. I mean, he's got it all. I mean, really, what else can you say? He has it all. They just need to keep him healthy. There's no telling what kind of numbers he'll put up this year.
He ended up participating in 3 meets for that Wisconsin relay team. He's a guy who ran, what, a 10.4 in high school as a track star. Blake Barnett's going to keep it on first down. The Bulls just looking for something positive on offense.
You know, it's hard to believe Jonathan Taylor had only one other Big Ten offer. It was home state Rutgers, and he's more than an athlete. He's an extremely bright kid. He's a joy to be around. Took visits in college to Harvard and Yale. Looks at Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's the famed astrophysicist, as one of his idols, and follows him on Instagram and Twitter, reads his books. And I'll tell you what, when we spent time with him, I know, Lewis, you said it, you were blown away in terms of just his overall body language and the way that he was able to communicate with us last night. The kid's an absolute stud.
He's just a ball of energy, a ball of positive energy. And when you're around him, you can't help but smile.
He is going to impress a lot of people as he gets ready for the next level. He's got a lot of work to do at this level still. Barnett pressured immediately and throws it away. That gives us a chance to say hi once again in studio to Matt Berry.
All right, guys, coming up, Collin Hill, Colorado State is going to kick at 10:30 Eastern. That over on ESPN News. Had a little bit of a lightning issue there, but it will kick 10:30 Eastern. Colorado State over on ESPN News.
Okay, so then presumably when we are finished, then here on ESPN, we'll transition into that rivalry game. 3rd and 10 for the Bulls. Barnett steps up and whistles one almost to the wrong team. Scott Nelson's played well. He couldn't quite come up with that interception, but it's 4th down. The athletic director for the Badgers, famed head football coach Barry Alvarez, is here in Tampa tonight.
Looks like he's checking his Twitter.
Yeah,
checking his messages going, hey, the football team looks pretty good. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, we're rolling pretty good right now.
Make no mistake. Paul Chryst is the head coach. Barry still has a big role to play.
No doubt.
In this Wisconsin football program. And he's got to be thrilled. Punt almost blocked on a line drive, returnable punt. Jack Dunn with a penalty flag back near the original line of scrimmage. So we'll see what the penalty is. Wisconsin did not have a lot of games like this last year. They let teams hang around. They won 8 games. It's not like it was a disastrous season.
Illegal shift. Kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. 1st down.
Well, I think what Wisconsin is showing you is that they've been opportunistic on defense. They've been able to rush the passer, get some turnovers, put their offense in good situations from a field position perspective, give them more cracks at the ball, more cracks at trying to score touchdowns. The offensive line is showing you still that despite the fact that we only really have one returning starter, that being the center, Biadasz, we still have guys who have played a lot of football. We have a left tackle that is as good as any left tackle in college football and we have a runner, we've already said how good he is. So they're playing to who they are, and it's no surprise that they're playing this well. I'm more surprised that South Florida has played as poorly as they did.
Yeah, me too. I mean, even that the special teams have been awful. That was a jailbreak for the pass rush. USF right up the middle with a quick sack. Kirk Livingstone has made some nice plays for the Bulls defense. It'll be second down. USF has a lot to work on. They lost their last 6. They were 7-0 last year. And not just limped to the finish, struggled so badly at the end of the year. 4 coaches let go, 11 players sent on their way. Transfers came in, new coaches, and Charlie Strong really hoping that would make a big impact. And it may still. It's just the first game, but it's not a very encouraging start for South Florida.
Well, Charlie was very high on the character of the type of players that he brought in here. And he thought that would pay dividends as far as this football team continuing to fight, continuing to practice the right way, meet the right way, play the game the right way, execute the fundamentals the right way. And right now, that football character is going to have to come out. They're going to have to, right now, despite the fact that they're down big to a football team that seems to have their number, they're going to have to try and create some turnovers, create some big plays, and show that football character that he thought that they had.
3rd down and 9. Cone steps up. And Cone, who has a little bit of maneuverability, not great breakaway speed, got positive yardage, but brought down short of the 1st down. So I would imagine the Badgers will punt the ball back to South Florida.
What's one of the great ways to really change the momentum and provide your team a spark? Special teams. Big return. Set up a nice wall. Set up a nice middle return. Get the crowd into it, what's left of the crowd here. Get the sidelines up onto the sideline and really get them fired up.
I could be a smart aleck and say, don't commit a penalty on special teams. That would be like
that'd be a plus too.
A baby step. No big return. Good punt, effective punt. So the Bulls trying to get it together in prime time here in Tampa when we come back.
Well, it's all Wisconsin in Tampa, and USF, well, their offense has struggled mightily tonight, but in the kitchen, quarterback Blake Barnett has some sizzle.
You got in there.
I got 2 ribeyes. One
for you,
ribeyes. One for me.
2.
Yeah. It's about 1.5 minutes each side, just so you get a nice crust on the outside. The steak's already cooked, but this is just finishing it off.
All right. Game time.
Yep.
Listen to this. Oh, that's nice. You're well read with this stuff.
I try to do it as much as I can afford to do.
Wow. That's perfection, Blake.
Dave and Lewis, he uses a sous vide, which gets the steak to a perfect temperature of 125 if you like it medium rare. Do you have one of those?
I don't have a sous vide.
Me neither.
The look of that steak when he carved it up for you, it makes me maybe want to get one. Is it too easy to say that Wisconsin's sous videing the Bulls right now? Let's get an update in studio with Matt.
Guys, thank you. Utah State, Wake Forest, Jordan Love to COC Mariner in this one. This on ACC Network. And right now, Utah State, the great catch off of Mariner, leading Wake Forest 21-17. And Purdue is kicked against Nevada. Elijah Sindelar to Bryson Hopkins, the early touchdown for the Boilermakers. They're up early in this one, 10-0.
All right, so Purdue, big expectations in the west of the Big Ten.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
Am I wrong to think that that division, which has really played second fiddle to the other side of the Big Ten for the last many years, am I wrong to think that Wisconsin's side of the Big Ten has gotten a lot better?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, there's many people who think that Wisconsin is not just necessarily a lock to win that side of the division. That teams like Nebraska are there, Minnesota. Wisconsin is showing you right now tonight, hey, look, not so fast, as Lee Corso would say. Not so fast, my friend. We're back. We've got a different style of attack while at the same time staying true to who we are. And this is, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better showing in an opening game like this where there's so much uncertainty about how the other team's going to play, how your team's going to respond. Paul Chryst couldn't ask for anything better.
On third down and very short, they got stuffed. So they tried to run the play quickly, and that did not work. Fourth down, you're at your own 20. Do you go for it down 35-0? Why not?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're going to do here. What I don't like about South Florida right now is they're kind of getting away from what they had going early on, which was some big play opportunities down the field. Now they're running Blake Barnett and some quarterback reads, some quarterback runs. They're just slamming the ball up the middle. I mean, they still have speed on the perimeter. They still have playmaking ability downfield. And I think Kerwin Bell would be good, well served to show some confidence in his wide receivers and see if they can come up with some plays.
Let's see what they do on 4th and 1. They hand the ball off, and that's not going to work. The ball's out. He wasn't going to get there anyway. The ball got poked out. And this Badgers defense looks like a different unit. I know USF is a new system. They're struggling. They're making mistakes. But Wisconsin's playing some D tonight.
Absolutely. With their front seven, you see them resetting the line of scrimmage right there at the point of attack. I mean, you just see it. I mean, 59 Tyler Johnson coming inside, getting underneath that pull block. I mean, when you're winning at the point of attack like that, 4th and 2, 4th and short, you don't really spread it out and do what you do best, and you're running into the teeth of what Wisconsin does the best. What do you expect to happen? See, right now you're taking it, you're telling your players right now that you don't have the kind of confidence in them that maybe you need to. And right now, I mean, you're putting them at a disadvantage, and now Wisconsin's in scoring territory once again.
Nakia Watson, who knows? We may not see any more Jonathan Taylor in this game with a 35-0 advantage. So they'll hand the ball off to Watson, who gets 8 yards on first down. Back to studio with Matt.
All right, guys, just a reminder, coming up over on ESPN News, 10:30 Eastern, Laviska Shenault Jr., one of the great players in college football, taking on Colorado State. That's going to start on ESPN News, and then when your game's over, right here on ESPN.
All right, thanks, Matt. We got Colorado on our Friday night primetime package this year. They're going to host USC in October. So that's a game we will see from Boulder. Laviska Shenault really is one of the most talented players in the country. On second down, no gain on the handoff to Watson. Laviska Shenault, 86 rate. He missed some time with injury too. I mean, those numbers could be even more impressive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Boulder and seeing them play against USC. I mean, this is a good looking player right here. They got some good players across the country right now at all positions, and Shenault seems to be one of those ones that get me fired up to do college football. I can tell you this, watching young kids like this really excel, take their game to the next level on into the pros, doesn't get any better than that.
He's big, he's strong, he can run. 3rd and 2, and that one is stopped well behind the line of scrimmage. USF defense not giving up in this game. Kevin Kegler, the junior, with the stop. 4th down, and probably a field goal try coming up here. Chance to give Colin Larsh his first field goal attempt of his career. Last year, the special teams for Wisconsin were not good.
Yeah, this is a situation here where it's just there's no pressure. Just come out nice, smooth, easy execution. Nice, easy 30-yard field goal. I say easy. I'm not the one kicking it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's what it should be. This should be a nice, smooth operation.
Good snap, good hold. Kick is pushed. No good.
And see, that's the kind of thing, I'll tell you what, even in a game like this, that's tough right there.
You got championship aspirations. There's still some stuff to clean up. Yeah. We'll be back to Tampa right after this. Listen up, Wisconsinites. Beer is not just for the Badgers. A pretty impressive operation here, Cigar City Brewing here in Tampa. They've got a thriving craft beer scene. Very close to where we stand here inside Raymond James Stadium. The Cheeseheads, that's one thing we know they like to do. They are here in big numbers tonight, watching their Badgers take it to South Florida. A very impressive overall performance. A pitch and catch from Barnett to Jordan Cronkrite, the tailback out of the backfield for a South Florida first down. They haven't had very many of those. They still have not gotten to 100 total yards of offense. We're under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
See, that's what I hope to see more of. I hope to see Kerwin Bell, offensive coordinator, continue to call what he was calling early in the game as far as the passing game is concerned. Get these guys spread out across the width of the field, take some shots down the field, work your offense. This is who you guys are, so just continue to work it and see what you can get done.
That one was to nobody.
Kerwin is not happy.
We've seen that look a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who had a big smile on his face when we talked to him yesterday about coming here to South Florida, a chance to implement an offense which has had success at lower levels, but a lot of different levels. This is a guy who's a very bright offensive mind. And the debut for the Bulls has not been great.
Yeah, in fairness to Blake Barnett, I mean, this is his 6th offensive coordinator since he left high school. 6th. And you can just tell as the game continues to go against him from a momentum perspective, he's losing some of his confidence here. You see his hands on his hips right there. He's got to hit that pass to Cronk right out in the flat. That should be easy for him, a kid of his caliber. But right now, it's the mental aspect that's starting to wear on this team. They're looking up at the scoreboard. They see the same thing we see, and they're starting to lose hope.
His first coordinator at Alabama, Lane Kiffin. From Lane all the way here to Kerwin Bell. 1 college career, 6 different offensive coordinators. And his 3rd in 2 years at South Florida. He steps up in the pocket on 3rd down. He's got some mobility, but he can't get away enough for the 1st down. It's 4th down, short of the South Florida 40-yard line. Why not?
I'm keeping my offense on the field.
He's got talent, this guy. And South Florida's got to find a way to let that talent come out, and they're not going to go for it. They're going to punt. There are not a lot of South Florida fans who are left, and I don't blame them, the ones who have left. But I heard some boos. And they're going to fake the punt and try to get there. That did not end well. Mike Mascalunas came over and basically just clotheslined the punter. That wasn't Trent Schneider. That was Spencer Schrader.
Look, if you're going to give your team a chance to go for it.
The run was short of the line of the game. 1st down, Wisconsin.
Just keep your offense on.
Exactly. Let your best ball carriers, the guys who are used to running the football, taking hits, let them give it, take a shot at it. Let Kerwin continue to work his offensive system because you still have a lot of season left to play. You need to find out exactly where you are. Running stuff like that and then getting decleated on the sideline, all that's going to do is really just kill the morale of your kids and make them feel like, you know what, I'm just trying to play out the rest of the 19 minutes or so left in this football game.
I mean, what are you telling Spencer Schrader there? What was he supposed to do different?
That's a great question.
Come on.
There's nothing that he could do.
Spencer Schrader is a very fast guy. Charlie Strong said he might be one of the 5 fastest players on our team, which opened our eyes a little bit and ears. That one dropped. Ferguson had his hands on it, couldn't come up with it.
Jack Cohn's left some throws on the table, but he's matured a lot this offseason. When you talk to members of the staff, they said after that Pinstripe Bowl, he assumed leadership on this team. He's always been a quiet kid. I spoke to his dad, Mike, this week, and even Mike was getting feedback from people around the Wisconsin program saying Jack was really vocal, getting in people's faces, and a rah-rah guy. And he had to ask himself, my Jack?
Well, that's interesting. A delayed handoff there on 2nd and 10. The question to me is, I do not want to take, this is one game and a kid who earned this job clearly. You talk to everybody with Wisconsin, he was clearly the guy to take this job. But they do have probably their highest rated quarterback recruit in their program's history in number 5, Graham Mertz.
Yeah, you see him there on your screen. This kid's high school tape is phenomenal. Beautiful, beautiful release, throwing motion, good movement in the pocket, can throw it all over the football field. He's definitely the future for this program. But right now, it's up to Jack Cohn, like in this 3rd down situation. We'll see what he can do.
He's getting a chance here, and he's made some nice throws, including that one to Danny Davis for a 1st down.
He's just being the point guard. That's what good quarterbacks do. People don't remember how necessarily you generated yardage or how you generated your completion percentage or passer rating. They just remember how efficient you are at getting the ball to playmakers, because ultimately that's what wins football games. At the college level, at the pro level, at the high school level, it never changes. And to Jack Coan's credit, that's what he's starting to do as this game progresses.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to start, though. When are we going to see Graham Mertz or his... But I think it is still a valid question for this team. As good as they have looked overall, they got a chance to be a great team this year. Watson breaks one for a touchdown.
It's the same plays over and over. They just flip the formation, run it left. Hey, let's run it right. Hey, let's run it left. No, let's run it right. This is a very fundamentally sound football team, Dave. They know who they are. They know exactly who they are. And that's right now what is plaguing South Florida. They don't know what they are. They don't know what they've got. They don't know who they can believe in. They don't know anything right now. And Wisconsin is showing you the difference in terms of where they're at as far as the program is concerned.
41-0. Nakia Watson, a guy that they really like as a young running back, getting a chance to play. That's a touchdown run for Watson. Kick is up and good. We still have 1/4 and 3 minutes to play. Hard to be more impressed with the Badgers than we are right now, because everything that they do well, they are doing tonight.
Absolutely, all 3 levels of the field. The receivers are catching, the runners are running, the blockers are blocking, the throwers are throwing. That's how you score 42 points.
Well, this season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. All Wisconsin here tonight. Remember how they whipped up on Miami? Now, that was a little different in the Pinstripe Bowl in the cold in New York. Teams from this state are going to want to stop playing the Badgers. That was the final game of 2018. And now the first game of 2019. It is 42-0 Wisconsin over South Florida. And I think in a lot of ways this performance more impressive than that one. We don't yet know exactly how good the Bulls are going to be. But there has not been a phase where Wisconsin hasn't been razor sharp, including special teams. And Wisconsin with more good coverage there. Well, Saturday college football on ABC, and it's a big one. It's a big one for the Pac-12. It's a big one for an Auburn team that has big expectations. Number 11 against number 16 at Jerry's World in Arlington, Texas, 7:30 Eastern. You can watch it on the app. You got an experienced quarterback, Justin Herbert, who is one of the most talented in the country. You got Bo Nix, a true freshman. For the first time in more than 70 years, Auburn starting a true freshman at quarterback in their opener. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert really is the headliner there. You want to see where exactly he is at as far as his development is concerned. The NFL has a lot of interest in him. They want to see how he can really take the reins of this football team and see what he can do with it. I'm interested to see.
You know, Mario Cristobal at Oregon wants to turn the Ducks. This is not Chip Kelly's pro. He wants the Ducks to be an SEC-like team.
Yeah.
Offensive line, defensive line, big, strong guys up front. Well, it's a chance to play a really good team from the SEC and see if Oregon's got it. I mean, there are a lot of people who think Oregon has a chance to be one of those outsider national championship contenders. We're going to find out on Saturday, tomorrow night.
Absolutely. You know, the Pac-12 necessarily isn't always known for the physical style of play, although maybe that's changing a little bit. You saw how Utah looked. I mean, these are football teams that can really play the smash mouth style when they put their mind to it. But Justin Herbert, there's no question he's the headliner. I think, you know, of all the throwers that are coming out this year, he may be physically the most talented. Let's just see if that can translate to how he really produces on the football field.
Hopefully Scott Nelson is okay. The sophomore safety has played well in this game. Well, here's where we are tonight in Tampa on Friday night. So Saturday, and it's much earlier than we thought, in a different city than we thought, but still a big game for Florida State and for Boise State. Then Saturday evening, the game you and I were just talking about, Oregon and Auburn. Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Houston with De'Aaron King at quarterback against Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma Sooners and Jalen Hurts. And then Monday night, 8 Eastern, it is Notre Dame and Louisville with their new head coach and new program. I don't know, am I crazy to think that De'Aaron King can go in? I mean, he is, if there's a guy who's reminds you of Kyler Murray, last year's Oklahoma star in college football right now. Maybe it's the Houston quarterback. Can he go in and give the Sooners a scare?
Well, you know, you would assume he'll be able to put up some points, but I think what the nation will really be watching is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
and let's just see what, you know, Lincoln Riley can do with him. Can he produce another guy, another Heisman Trophy winner, another guy who's being considered a top draft pick? I don't think he's necessarily the thrower that Kyler was or Baker was, but Jalen's a winner. There's no question about that, and I think he's going to put up plenty of W's, or at least contribute to plenty of W's for Oklahoma this year.
The bar's kind of high right now if you're going to play quarterback for Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
You know, Jalen,
Win the
no
Heisman,
pressure.
be first overall pick.
So
good luck.
Take your pick of these new quarterbacks in new spots. It's good to see Scott Nelson get up and walk off the field. I think that's good news for the Badgers because he's played well. And we'll see. I expect Jalen Hurts to play really well. That ball just flung away. Are they going to call that a pass? Yeah. And South Florida is going from bad to worse.
Yeah, Blake got his feet tied up right there as far as how the ball handling was concerned. And right now things are just steamrolling on this football team. This is really just a mental thing that's happening to South Florida. They don't believe they can win the game. And it's starting to show in terms of their physical effort and their execution. Been in this situation before as a player, and it's not fun. It's not pretty at all.
And Charlie Strong thought this had a chance to be like a program-altering win. You hope it doesn't alter the program in a different direction. Pass dumped short on 3rd and long. Well, they punted last time. I would imagine they're going to punt the ball back again. And this will make the fans who are still here a little crankier, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's funny how football works, right? You know you have speed. You know you had some shots down the field, but then you get your quarterback hit, you turn the ball over, you start losing confidence in maybe your left tackle who you move from offensive guard. So then all of a sudden what winds up happening is you start kind of shrinking your play call sheet. You start throwing plays out. That won't work, that won't work, that won't work. And players notice that too. Then they start trying to press, and everything just starts steamrolling downhill.
Wasn't a very good punt. It was pretty good coverage. So they didn't fake it this time. They actually punted it. Wisconsin will get the ball back toward midfield. A lot of work to do for those two guys. All the optimism of yesterday leading into the opener. I mean, I bought it.
Yeah, look, and in fairness to Blake Barnett in particular, since he's the one who's going to get the most scrutiny, and the offense is going to get the most scrutiny, because that's where I think a lot of the expectations were. Remember, 6 offensive systems for a kid who was still in college. Look, they're professional players who will never survive that. So you know a kid who's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, older than that, I mean, in his early 20s, there's no way you can survive that kind of thing mentally and developmentally. So he's just behind the 8 ball. They're going to have to be patient about it, although you just wonder how patient the fans down here are going to be.
Good play fake, but nobody was open, so Cone throws the ball away. I mean, that guy we were just showing, Kerwin Bell, the new offensive coordinator, it was a different level, and he was the head coach.
The quarterback was outside the tackle box. The ball made it to the line of scrimmage.
Okay, noted. But Kerwin Bell's team averaged 52 points a game, set an all-time Division II record for scoring in a single season, won a national championship last year. They could not be stopped.
Yeah, this is a different level, though. I mean, you're playing against a Wisconsin team that has one of the best young defensive coordinators in college football in Jim Leonhard. They have some playmakers at all 3 levels. They have an offense that plays great complementary football with one of the best, if not the best player in the country right now. Look, I have all the respect in the world for Kerwin Bell and what he accomplished at Valdosta, but this isn't Valdosta, and Wisconsin is unlike any team Valdosta played. So you're starting over from scratch. And that's clear right now. They have a lot of work to do. Charlie has a lot of work to do. He cannot lose this football team from a mental perspective, especially considering the way they ended the year last year.
Yep. It's well said. And it's a good point you make about all the change, all the turnover, all the newness for that quarterback. It's got to be a little patience. I don't know. Cone wasn't ready for the snap, so he avoided the turnover and goes down on 4th down with under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Dominant performance by the Badgers. Tyler Biadasz. Something was off with the timing with the All-American center. The All-American running back, he could do plenty of talking from here to the end of the game.
Yeah.
He's not going to have to do any running anymore.
He's put in a good night's work. He'll have a nice plane ride back to Madison. No question about it.
Line drive punt. And the return across the 25 and across the 30. Bulls offense gets the ball back first to Studio and Matt Berry.
Yeah, if you're looking for the Colorado State game over on ESPN News, they are in another lightning delay. We're being told that it'll kick off somewhere around 11 p.m. Eastern. So again, Colorado State in another weather delay. We'll keep you posted. Kickoff scheduled right now, 11 p.m. Eastern.
So that game's being played at the new Mile High, right? The rivalry game between Colorado State. Rocky Mountains in the summertime. It's not quite like being here in Florida, but it's close. Pressure immediately right around the edge and right by the tackle Marcus Norman for the sack.
This is the end of the third quarter.
Jalen Franklin, some impressive speed. And the Badgers fans are here and enjoying what they're seeing from number 23, Jonathan Taylor, and really everybody on this roster. Yeah, Bulls fans, I feel you. 42-0 through 3 quarters. Hey, you're watching the American Conference on ESPN, one of the more scenic parts of the campus of the University of South Florida, the Palm Walk. Some students strolling around on what's turned into a beautiful night weather-wise. We had a weather delay with lightning in the area before the game. It has been anything but beautiful on the field for the Bulls. Wow. Just a total annihilation by Wisconsin, 42-0. And in some ways, that doesn't even describe how bad it's been. South Florida has not run one play in Wisconsin territory. Not one. They have not been across midfield in this game.
Yeah, they had their chances early. I mean, look, we talk all the time about momentum being a big part of a football game, especially when you're talking about young kids like this. We're really trying to establish a new culture here in South Florida. And when you have adversity early, Charlie Strong knew that this would happen. I'm sure he just thought maybe the character of his football team would help them respond a little bit better, but they can't seem to pull themselves out of it. And they're going against a very good football team that's very well coached and has some really good players that have already proven that they can play well in a good division in the Big Ten.
You know, when you're up 42-0, you get the young bucks in, and one guy who I'm super impressed with watching his speed on the field is inside linebacker Leo Chanel. I mean, he just has a motor. He looks the part. And if you talk to people around the program, he's one of those young rising stars. Chris Orr told us last night, everything 45 and white does is explosive. He's got a huge upside.
You ever been to Grantsburg, Wisconsin, Lewis?
No, I haven't. Been to Green Bay. No Grantsburg.
Grantsburg makes Green Bay look like Manhattan.
So you've been there, huh?
It is a tiny little town in northern Wisconsin. Jack Dunn off and running. And Jack Dunn into South Florida territory with a big punt return. That would have been the biggest punt return by far last year for Wisconsin. So even the special teams looks much improved for the Badgers. That's a 41-yard return as Wisconsin gets the ball back. Do we have time to check in with studio with Matt? Yeah, we do. Let's do it.
Fleming and Lou Riddick, I love you guys, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, including Wake Forest and Utah State. Back and forth game on ACC Network. 4th and goal now. Wake Forest down 28-24, plus Djokovic up 2-0 in his U.S. Open round on ESPN2. And looks like Utah State stuffs Wake Forest. 4th and goal. How about that? Back to you guys in Tampa.
Wow. Feel free to keep doing the play-by-play of that game, Matt. Quintez Cephas with the catch. You know, we haven't talked in specifics about Quintez Cephas yet tonight, and it is probably important for us to just tell you what's going on. This we got 2 years ago was their most dynamic playmaker at wide receiver. And maybe if you follow the Badgers closely, it's obvious to you, but he was suspended, charged with sexual assault last August before the year, ended up being expelled from school. He went through the trial, was found not guilty, applied for reinstatement, has been reinstated, and is back on the football team. And he has made an impact in this game. Quintez Cephas I don't think it's an exaggeration to say he is their most talented player on the outside and maybe one of their most important players.
No question about it. Look, he has 6 career receptions of 30-plus yards. That's legitimate big playability. And when you add that to the wide receiver core that they already have with A.J. Taylor, Kendrick Pryor, Danny Davis, and then you add in, of course, JT, Jonathan Taylor, look, he kind of like makes them complete. This is a complete offense that can really open things up now. As long as Jack Coan continues to develop, look out for Wisconsin.
3rd and 2, and the fullback, John Chenal, the older brother by 1+ years. The guy that Clark was talking about, Leo Chenal, also from Grantsburg,
where I haven't been.
Off the radar, but is producing some really good football players in that family. 2 really important parts of this team. And that is a 1st down run for the fullback, John, who's got a chance to be. Fullbacks are
the play clock to 40.
Not the most glamorous spot, but in Wisconsin's football's history, it's a pretty glamorous position.
No doubt about it. Fullbacks are not something that are just kind of thrown by the wayside of Wisconsin. They are an integral part of what they want to do. As you can see, it works, especially in the running game. And if you have pass catching ability, that makes you all the more valuable.
Left side run on 1st down. And Bradrick Shaw, who is back from injury, and just being on the field, I think, is a victory for Bradrick, who tore his ACL in the last game of 2017, missed all of last year, and really has battled to get back healthy and getting a chance to carry the ball in a game.
And I think, look, he's still running behind the first-team offensive line, so Paul Chryst is determined to continue to use this game almost as an extension of training camp, right? You're continuing to have your frontliners out here. When you're up 42-0, you're still staying true to who you are, throwing the football, running the football, taking shots when necessary, getting your quarterback sacked sometimes. I mean, it's just all a part of it, but they're still continuing to work who they are. And I think that just, again, it speaks to where they're at from a program build perspective and where South Florida isn't. Is that right now, they don't really even care what the score is. And just look at the look on Paul's face. I mean, he's tipped off about that sack. Because, look, I got my front liners in here. What are you doing? I don't care what the score is. Make sure you're sounding your fundamentals in pass protection. Get the ball out of your hands. Let's put another one in the end zone.
It's 3rd and 17. It's a good point. I mean, this offensive line, Jonathan Taylor made him look really good tonight. It has not been a perfect game. They're talented. The left tackle's really talented. But it has not been against a different opponent. They have some things to work on with a new front 5, 4 starters gone from last year's team. And maybe that is part of what Paul Chryst is doing here with 10 minutes to go.
There's no other reason to have these guys in here other than the fact that, look, he's getting them the reps right now that are going to pay off down the line when they get into their conference schedule and start playing the big boys within their own division.
USF has 10 tackles for loss in this game. That's a big number.
Look, there's some things Charlie can pull out of this game and kind of sell to his football team as reasons to, you know, stay hopeful, stay working hard, stay believing in what they're trying to teach them and what they're trying to sell to them. But it's been a tough night. There's no question about it.
And maybe you're right. I brought up that point really to say that the offensive line has given up 10 tackles for loss for Wisconsin. They're not going to be thrilled about that. So maybe that's one positive for Charlie Strong on a night where there have not been many. Maybe when we come back, they can move across midfield. We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good weekend to invite your friends, even if things aren't going well here in Tampa, Oregon, and Auburn from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, Saturday night under the lights, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN. It'll stream live on the app. Oregon trying to hang with the big boys. It's also a rematch of that dramatic national title game, 2011. So that's a while ago. Blake Barnett being chased from behind. He'll throw on the move, and that was a nice pass and a catch for a 1st down. So there's a little glimmer of the talent of this quarterback, Blake Barnett.
I mean, what do you have to lose? Continue to call your offense. Continue to see what you have. I mean, you know that Blake can throw the football. You sung his praises, Kerwin Bell, when we met with you as far as him being able to make all the NFL throws. You see him right there. He escapes the rush of Isaiah Green-May, who was coming, who was just one step away from disaster for South Florida's offense. But just keep calling it. Just keep throwing the football, see what you got.
One thing is the pressure has been so immediate. Is that pass intercepted? It was taken away by Wisconsin. Colin Wilder with the pick. And with that, we'll go back to studio and Matt.
All right, guys, have an update on Colorado State in Colorado. That game is now kicked. They moved kick, which was originally be 11 o'clock, now to 10:47. That's over on ESPN News. So when this game goes final, Wisconsin-South Florida, the ESPN News crowd will switch over to ESPN to watch Colorado State underway. Mel Tucker, first game as the Buffs' new head coach.
Well, speaking of a Pac-12 SEC connection with that Oregon-Auburn matchup, Mel Tucker coming to the Pac-12 to take over a program with a great history, Colorado. Not a great recent history, but some talent on that team. We'll see. A handoff to Watson for a short gain on first down after another turnover by the USF offense, but give credit to Colin Wilder. What a pick that was.
Yeah, that's a great job of driving flat on the football across the field, extending, taking the ball out of the wide receiver's hands. Look, that's what Mike Hampton had an opportunity to do right before the end of the first half for South Florida that would have killed the momentum of Wisconsin before the half. He didn't make the play. These guys are continuing to make the plays despite being up 42-0. That's the difference in this game.
So Jack Cohn is on the sideline now, and Chase Wolf. It's not Graham Mertz, the true freshman. It's the redshirt freshman, Chase Wolf, who's in. Maybe mostly just a handoff. And Nakia Watson making the most of his opportunities. Out of bounds, but not before a big gain. Clock will run again. About 8 minutes to go. There's Chase, the redshirt freshman from Cincinnati. He, in high school, was the backup to Sean Clifford, who's going to be the starting quarterback at Penn State at the start of the year, following Trace McSorley's storied career. So he is no stranger to quarterback competition. Chase Wolf, he's not the biggest guy, but he can move a little bit. They like him.
Yeah, and everything you've heard was that he gave Graham Mertz all he can handle as far as the quarterback competition behind Jack Cohn so far in training camp, or in training camp that just completed for Wisconsin. So he's earned his play time here late in this football game.
Yeah, this would tell me. Even put a block on.
Absolutely.
How about that? To spring Bradrick Shaw for a touchdown. And that one's got to feel good for a guy who took a long time to get back from a serious injury. And his quarterback helped him out with a block.
Well, Chase Wolf, you'll see him here coming to your screen as the running back changes direction, and just watch him. He's just really trying to get in the way. He takes it on the chin a little bit, but you know what? That's teamwork, baby. That's teamwork. That's how you do it.
And that guy,
they'll love you for that in the film room. They're going to get on you, but they'll love you for it.
You get the best of both worlds. They can make fun of you a little bit for getting flat.
Look at them. Look, they're just laughing on the sideline. It feels good to be up 48-0.
Yeah, that was you know what? It didn't look pretty. That was a good play and a tough guy play. That earned some respect. Stick your nose in there as a backup quarterback. Extra point is good. Well, getting his first game action of his career, Chase Wolf. Welcome to big-time college football.
No red jerseys for you, Chase. Full contact, baby.
All kinds of pressures tonight, including on Coach Charlie Pell. But what about Kerwin Bell, the quarterback of whom Paul spoke? He didn't expect to start tonight. So we talked to Charlie Pell about Kerwin Bell and said, Charlie, Coach, is all the pressure on Kerwin Bell in tonight's game?
Well, one might think that Kerwin Bell might be having all the pressure, but I think the football team itself has assumed all that pressure this week. Kerwin Bell is a rookie. He is inexperienced, but he's an outstanding quarterback prospect.
It was one of the first night games, college football-wise, that we ever televised here at ESPN, and it was a thriller. And Kerwin Bell making that start as a young kid who'd been a walk-on and was 8th on the depth chart. He led Florida down to score, and he thought beat the powerful Miami Hurricanes. But Bernie Kosar and about 25 other NFL guys on that Miami team had different ideas. And with just a few seconds left, Kosar threw the touchdown pass that ended up winning that game. That wasn't a great memory for him, but it sure was better than what this has been tonight. Kerwin Bell's offense back on the field when we come back.
over on ACC Network, 35-31.
Thank you, Matt. Very similar to the game we've had here in Tampa, 49-0. I mean, we all thought this was going to be a competitive game. Jordan McLeod will come in, the backup quarterback for South Florida. 7:21 still to go, so the backup gets a chance to get in the game, get some experience. Wisconsin's defense has been doing that all game long, and they do deserve some credit. Their young defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, who's I think one of the bright young minds in all of college football. Last year, for his defense, by their standards, was a little bit down. They may be back to their level this year.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing, where you're seeing a lot of the improvement, is the communication in the secondary, the fundamentals that they play with in the secondary. Had a lot of young players, a lot of freshmen play last year, gave up a lot of big plays because of miscommunication and technique breakdown. He expected there to be a big jump this year because of them putting in the work this offseason and just naturally growing and maturing. And Jim, being a former safety and one of the smartest NFL players you'll ever meet, when he tells you something like that, you know that it's probably going to manifest itself in better improvement on the football field, because if anything, he's going to demand that you play the game the right way mentally. And then when you can play the game the right way mentally, you play much faster. And that's the thing that surprised me the most so far, Dave. This team is faster on the football field, just looking at it with the naked eye, than I expected them to be.
Hey, you saw those numbers there. That's a lot of big plays for a defense, even against a struggling offense. I think that's a big-time positive for the Badgers. Jordan McLeod's completed a couple passes. Mascalunas with a good open field tackle. Under 6 minutes to go. Jim Leonard, a guy who came as a walk-on to Wisconsin, turned into one of the best players in the Big Ten. Undrafted, turned into a great NFL player. Had, what, a 10-year NFL career?
Sure. I mean, he epitomizes what this football team historically has been. Guys who have been overlooked, guys who don't want to go to a smaller level of college football and want to play on the big stage, and they want to take their chances to walk on, get coached very well, and they turn into good football players. And I mean, they've got it going on here in Wisconsin as far as developing guys and doing it the old-fashioned way, getting them reps, playing good, solid football, running the football, playing in a tough division, in the elements. There's just a lot of stuff to admire about this program.
Oh, Jordan McLeod showing a little stuff here. That's the first time all night that South Florida has crossed midfield.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing that can happen with a team that has the kind of weaponry that South Florida has. I know they're getting blanked 49-0. They have better weapons than that, Dave. Yeah. They have better weapons than that. They just catch the ball there across midfield in the first quarter.
Almost on the first play from scrimmage. Yeah. You're right. McLeod goes down. Yeah. The helmet came flying off, so that penalty flag gets thrown. Jalen Franklin's made a couple big plays. He has not played many snaps. He's flashed.
He is a good-looking athlete. I was watching him warming up as well pregame with Zach Bond and Isaiah Green May. Long, angular, very athletic. Again,
run, personal foul, grasping the inside of the helmet, defense number 42. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down. Number 12 does get to stay in the game because his foul came off due to a foul.
Look, these guys are just playing the game hard. They're playing the game physical. And if I'm Jim Leonard right now, look, I'll tell you what, I want to preserve this shutout just because getting shutouts, I don't care what level it is, that's a feather in your cap. But you've got to love how this team is playing despite being up this big. They are coming after South Florida. They don't want to give them any hope at all.
November 2017, that's the last shutout for the Wisconsin defense against Minnesota. They beat the Gophers 31-0. Last time USF was shut out was 51 games ago, back in 2014 against UCF. They're rivals in the American, so they're trying to avoid that. They've got 4 minutes to get some points on the board. Well, Jordan McLeod's done a couple positive things since coming in the game.
Yeah, you hope they can punch this in here for the kids' sake, for their morale's sake, because they.
McLeod waited too long, and he just got crunched. He needs a different helmet or a way to secure that helmet a little better.
And there's the other physical freak that they are really high on, Isaiah Green May, number 50. Outside pass rusher, outside linebacker in their base 3-4. They've got a fleet of people that they're trying to develop right now. And between him and Franklin right now on the football field, that's a good-looking group.
Southern Florida, just the first charge.
Well, South Florida is going to use a timeout, which will mean that McLeod can stay in the game, even though his helmet flew off. Trying to get points on the board when we come back.
17-7.
All right, thanks, Matt. Purdue kind of similar to this game. I wouldn't put Nevada, at least not at this stage of their program, maybe in the Colin Kaepernick days, but not right now at the level of South Florida in terms of talent. But going on the road to an unfamiliar place, there are a couple Big Ten teams challenging themselves, at least on paper, with the schedule. It has not been much of a challenge on the field for Wisconsin. They played so well, and it's 4th and 6. Maybe the last best chance for South Florida to get some points on the board.
Yeah, again, I mean, what Wisconsin is doing right now is using these live game reps as the way to develop the bottom part of their roster, the number 2s, the number 3s. And it's going to pay off for them down the road.
Penalty flag. Thought they got the play snapped in time.
False start. Offense, number 38. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
So now it's 4th and 11. And they're going to kick a field goal. Wow. Well, I guess just trying to get some experience for your kicker. That feels like that was inevitable. Kobe Weiss.
That's unfortunate. This program's better than that. They haven't shown better than that tonight, but they got a lot of work to do. They just got to go back to the drawing board and put in more work. Simple as that.
This has got to be. This could be a challenge because you're right. Okay, let's get back to work. But this is demoralizing.
Well, look, if you believe in the character of your players, and again, I know I've said this earlier, but Charlie emphasized that he likes the kind of players that he brought in here as far as the transfers were concerned, and how they were trying to set the culture as far as how they're supposed to work. Well, if you believe in that, if you believe you have the right guys, then they'll understand they still have a lot of football left to play. And they can't let this one game define them. Look, Wisconsin's going to win a lot of games. As South Florida watches Wisconsin go through their season, they're going to go, all right, we ran into a buzzsaw that actually went on to have a very good season and probably have the Heisman Trophy winner. So, I mean, we'll take that. But they can't give up on this season. I mean, that's just not the way team sports work. That's not the way competitors work.
I hope you're right.
Otherwise, there are going to be changes, right? And this program we all thought was on the up and up, visiting their campuses. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yep.
It's beautiful. They deserve better than this.
There's no reason why this program can't be full of talent and win a lot of games. But after the way that last season finished, I mean, that's the other thing about the way this game has unfolded is this was supposed to be the turn the page moment. This was supposed to be 2019's different, not the way we finished last year.
And they still have their own conference schedule to play. So, I mean, there's some things that to look forward to and really see where you're at as far as the level of competition that you're playing on a regular basis. So all is not lost.
Well, we got Saturday boxing for you on ESPN Plus at 1 a.m. Eastern. No, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Saturday, 4 Eastern is the main event. Top Rank Boxing exclusively on ESPN Plus. Lomachenko against Campbell, who's got really a fascinating personal story. Olympic gold medalist from England, Luke Campbell. The WBC title on the line. 1st and 10, Wisconsin just playing out the last few moments of this game. So you got Iowa, you got Nebraska, you got Purdue, you got Wisconsin. You got improved teams on that side of the Big Ten. But the Badgers are the program. Northwestern, we don't want to leave anybody out. Minnesota thinks they're a lot better.
Sure.
But the Badgers are the team to beat based on the last decade plus in that side of the Big Ten. And this looks to me like the Wisconsin team from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Double-digit wins, dominating teams they were better than. Last year, And they won 8 games, but it was a little different.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to keep it all in context. I mean, when they start their conference schedule, we'll find out a lot more. But as we talked about, Dave, when you play a team that you feel as though you're better than, and well, actually, you know that you're better than, you have better players than them, you're supposed to beat them like this. Because if you didn't beat them like this and the game was tight, then all of a sudden people are going, well, maybe you're not as good as we thought we were. So if you're Paul Chryst, hey, there's still work you want to do. You know the competition's going to get even tougher. But, man, Jonathan Taylor, have a night, buddy.
Yeah.
Have a night. You're going to have a great season.
Super, super impressive. Taylor and the Badgers, they took it to South Florida. We got Rocky Mountain football coming up. Colorado, Colorado State. For Paul Carcaterra, for Lewis Riddick, Dave Fleming saying so long here from Tampa. The man of the night, Jonathan Taylor in Wisconsin, 49-0 now. Colorado State in Colorado.